Evening all. How are we doing?
Caught me by surprise there, Tom.
I did, sorry.
I know you counted 3, 2, 1.
I did, I mean...
But I wasn't, still
I
expecting
thought
it.
3, 2, 1 is the universal indication
It
of
is.
we're
it
about
is.
to start something.
But literally, I was still thinking, no, he's not going to go live. He's going to count.
Just
He's got
tricking me.
-1.
Well,
Anyway,
welcome. Welcome to Wednesday night at Finnegan's. In for another session.
In for another sesh.
Great to have you watching. Drop us a line in the comments. Let us know
what you're drinking.
what you're drinking,
We're
where you're watching
on the
from.
cheap stuff tonight, Tom.
Carling.
Carl, and we can't afford them Tory prices, for beer anymore.
No.
No, so we're on the cheap stuff
The cheap
tonight.
stuff.
The
That's
Carl,
right.
beautiful British lager.
Is it from Britain, is it?
Apparently, that was the big selling point during Brexit, wasn't it? It was, yeah. You don't know nothing, you know nothing, Tom Grant.
That means I know something.
You don't know nothing.
Yeah.
You know
Can't have
nothing.
a double negative. I know that much.
I know that much
All right,
myself.
pipe down. Evening.
It's Game of Thrones, isn't it?
Do you know what I was looking at? You can watch all
here we
the
go. Change the
previous
subject.
episodes of Finnegan's. You can watch them on YouTube, Facebook, or you can get them wherever you get
Can
your
you?
podcasts. Yeah, you can.
Wow.
And do you know what? I was looking at some of the guests we've had recently.
Had they been good?
We've had Peter Dowd, the MP.
Someone should have protected him.
I don't know how he doesn't have people working
He
for
was
him.
boss.
He was good.
Yeah,
He's
he was
very
good.
quietly spoken.
He was a lovely guy.
But he
though.
was a very
He
nice
great.
guy. Very nice guy.
Promised us some cash for the church, which hasn't come yet, but never mind.
I think that was an under the table.
Defo not going to send it now, is he? Hey,
There's Helen Jones, Paul Beasley from BBC Radio Merseyside.
Yeah. Smashing again.
Last week was a hit.
Oh, last week was a hit, yeah.
We had Mr. and Mrs.
I think that's a once a year thing we should do. So
Valentine's
can't
thing.
have them in all the time.
No.
They kind of ruin the vibe.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I thought it was a good night that though. We had
You
very
would
positive
say that and
feedback.
just leave me, drop me right in it, wouldn't you? Hey.
I really enjoyed spending time with my wife.
Yeah.
It was a good
Oh,
evening.
dear me.
So who's in? Let's have a little look.
I
Who's...
enjoy spending time with my wife, and that door's locked. So.
Evening, Josh. Nice to see you, mate. How are we doing? Emma's in. My wife's listening, see?
Yeah, see.
There we go. Fantastic. Ray's in. He's drinking. Carling. Evening, Mike. Nice to see you, mate. Josh is a regular. He's in. Miriam's in. Thanks for coming.
Just Josh Dignam.
Josh Dignam's in.
Josh,
Just throw
are
some
you coming
comments
tomorrow
up, Jack.
night
Let's
or
see
what?
him.
I want to see
Josh.
you tomorrow night, Josh. You were doing all right, mate.
What,
Come on.
did he not come last week?
He hasn't been for 2 weeks. He's
So
bottled it.
All right,
He's hit the wall.
If you don't know, we're doing a comedy course, partly with the podcast, partly with church, raising funds for our local community grocery. And the gig is a week away on Thursday.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, and everyone's now starting
So
to panic.
you can see the fear in people's eyes now.
See the fear in my enemy's eyes.
And so Margs, who will be watching later, she's part of, we've got Annie in, we'll say hello to Annie in a second, but
choir.
she's part of Annie's choir, so she watches after she's been to the choir.
Yeah.
But she came today to try and pull out, didn't she?
She was terrified. And you were like, I don't know what was up with you. This is normally good Baptist, bad Baptist here, but he was like, he just went on it. He's just like, you're terrible.
No, I didn't say not terrible at comedy. I said you can't pull out. You can't pull out. But I did the course.
It's terrifying. It's going to wait till the night. You'll be even worse. He was saying to her. It was. I was trying to make her feel all right, and you went full on nuclear on it and laughed at it. And she actually said, I hate you.
Well, she did. That's not the first person today to say that, in fact. But she's going to be brilliant. So, Margs, don't pull out. Josh. I've heard Josh's jokes. They were funny.
Were there, yeah.
Don't pull out,
Don't
Josh.
pull out,
You'll be
Josh.
great,
Come on,
mate.
lads.
You'll be really
Turn
good.
up tomorrow night. You'll be fine. Just come and do it.
It's
going
gonna
to be
great.
a good night.
It
Just
is.
turn up.
Hope's in. Janet's in. Nice to see you, Janet. Jackie's in. Nice to have you with us. Chris and Pete are watching. Hope you're
Pete,
feeling better.
Hope you're feeling
Pete.
better, lad.
Chris has got. They've got tickets
We'll
for
have
the
to have
comedy
you
night.
around. I might every now and again. I have the occasional Wednesday night at Finnegan's on a Monday. Because I don't know what day it is sometimes. So it's the Carlin. So I might have Chris and Pete down to Finnegan's bar at some point.
Wow.
I'm going to.
I'm going to tell you what, that is, there's been people in the church a long time and they've never been invited into the sanctuary. Yeah. That is the Finnegan house. So that is a special,
I'm gonna have
special invite.
There it is.
Very good.
It's official now. You've been invited. I
Evening.
don't even talk to people, Chris and Pete, so
there you go.
Lucky stars.
That's it.
Yeah.
Barbara's in. Nice to see you, Barbara.
Crumpet Barbara.
Fantastic, because she makes crumpets.
Of course.
Very good. Okay, right. So let's let's welcome Annie.
And then we'll get
Annie,
into
lovely
stuff.
to have you. Thank you so much for coming in tonight.
Hello.
Annie Spiers, everyone.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Do you know what? just straight away, Annie, there's a song, and I just asked you briefly before you came on, but there's a Christian kids song. If
Just
anyone...
ask people to guess which one first before you blow it up.
So Annie,
before you blow it up, it's a quite old song, isn't it? But we still sing it in church.
1978.
Well, no, we had that debate today.
We did
because we seen the 1978, and I said, Annie, that can't be it.
That can't be Annie. She's too young for that
to have wrote that song.
I'll accept all the flattery I can get. Keep going.
She'd be far too old now.
Yes.
That's what we said, didn't we?
Well done.
We came to that conclusion.
It's so ponderous. Even when you're playing a compliment, it's like, we got there in the end. He's looking fuming now. Anyway, so we said 1978. There's a song that Annie wrote. It's a Christian song.
I've said all this.
If you've seen on a manual, Pete, on our church thing, Pete does an action song each week. Sort of something that the kids can dance along to and the adults can look like grumpy.
Hurry up.
And Annie wrote one of those songs. So if you if you've been to church or you go to our church or another church and put it in the comments. And what I want
don't Google it.
Don't Google it.
No.
Don't
ruin
cheating.
it.
Annie, can I just say, because Emma, my wife, writes music.
Okay.
And there's a couple of albums. I'll give you one before you leave. Fantastic music, but making money out of music is hard. So we've often thought, what should we do? Write a Christmas song? Like that seems to be a money spinner, but I thought maybe a kids' action song. Is there money in it? You must get royalties for that song.
I do get royalties for this particular song.
Yes.
When I first did it, I didn't write it, for anything other than I thought it came to mind. And so I wrote it in about 5 minutes.
Wow.
It did have some verses, which I may or may not let you know later, but they never, made it long term.
Yeah.
And so for a long time, nobody knew anything about it. And it was only in 1985, I think it was in Junior Praise. So a couple of years after that, my husband saw it in Junior Praise, and it was written as anonymous. And he thought, it's not anonymous. And then it was mainly, I just thought, well, I don't want someone else to say that they've written it.
Like Dougie Doug. Yeah. That one at the time.
He'd nick it, wouldn't he? Dougie Doug. I get a feeling he's all over it. Some of those he didn't write.
No.
Yeah, so that's all the others.
Yeah.
No. And then my mum had been very diligent at the time and had written a copy out. So anyway, it took a while to prove that it was me that had done it. And in the end, they believed me. The actual royalties come to something like £4.60 a year.
No.
That's not great. However, life changed when CCLI came up, which is Christian copyright licensing.
Yeah.
And at my peak for quite a while, I was getting £4,000 a year.
Wow. Get Emma on the kids song.
Kids song.
She never get on the kids song,
that is because it's international. It's translated into quite a lot of
I went to America
countries.
and they were singing it. And so when I realised, I just Googled you. I was deep diving to see, what we could talk about. And that came up and I thought, right, let's see what people think. Do you know what? You're getting quite a lot of people who think it's Great Big God. I think
that's a great song.
It is a great song.
That would have earned you more
in school assemblies.
Probably.
You'd be a millionaire if it was that one. It's not that one.
No.
And it's not, Danny says it Humpty Dumpty. It's not.
I'm old, but I'm not that old. I think that's been going for a while longer.
Chris has said, is it Who's the King of the Jungle?
Who's the king of the jungle? Who's the king of the sea? Yeah, I remember.
Fiver, she's just learned from that.
She's in a mod, lad.
Do you know what? We don't report. You're supposed to report what songs you sing, don't you, as a church? We don't, because, frankly, administration is not our strong point.
That face.
But do you know what?
Shocking.
I'm just going to report.
So you probably would end up with another grand off us.
Probably would, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I think we're going to report that that's the only song we sing now.
We sing that every week.
This church only sings this.
That's
5
all we
times
sing.
a week.
The game changer, to be honest with you, was when they separated out church royalties from school royalties.
Oh,
because a lot of schools sing it too.
Yeah.
So no, it's about equal actually. Alan.
Okay, sorry.
About equal. And it is on the decline a bit as far as the royalties go now. But do you know what? It's been a long road. So fair dues.
Incredible. Wasn't that fantastic?
Well, and I can have Happy Birthday song as well. I seen a thing with Claire Grogan, was it? What group was she? Claire Grogan.
I don't know. Is that Claire?
Oh,
Gray?
you won't know her. She's well old.
Is that definitely her
Scottish
name?
woman. She
Texas.
sang a song called "Happy Birthday," I think.
What?
Obviously.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Oh, okay.
Birthday.
All right.
Come on.
Well, Stevie Wonder's got one as well, hasn't he?
Has he? What's that one? How's that go?
Happy birthday.
Yeah, well, they're good. They're songs that'll come up every year, aren't they?
Yeah.
That you need to write a birthday song or a Christmas song.
Do you know what? Emma went a little.
Or a kids song that everyone loves.
Emma went a little bit darker, and she went for a funeral song. Okay. So she's got one called "Coming Home," which is brilliant.
Has he got kids' actions?
No, for a funeral.
Just checking.
I think it's this.
Yeah, but you
What is
might
that
find
Carry in the
supposed to be?
coffin.
Oh, okay.
Come on, Tom.
you might find a bit of a niche.
That's
in
so
there.
dark.
You said she went for the dark song, not me.
Can you imagine that? Well, yeah, no,
Coming
but
home.
it's a great song, that. But yeah, maybe
People
she
need
has
to hear it,
thought
though,
about
don't they?
Christmas
To
songs.
be able to pick up at the funeral.
That's it.
That's what needs to happen.
Claire Grogan, apparently. Which band was Claire Grogan in?
Yeah, that's the one. Which band was she in? I can't remember.
Very good. You've got some fans in tonight, Annie. Miriam sending her love.
Hi, Miriam.
Altered Image.
Oh, Miriam, I just want to... I'm literally talking to Miriam right now.
Mm-hmm.
Our comedy course, you've bought 2 tickets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to suggest we give you a refund.
Why? Alan's been giving out a disclaimer.
I'm
about
giving a
this comedy
disclaimer
night.
out that it's full. There's a lot of people on there who don't go to church doing comedy. So you can imagine the kinds of things they're saying and the subjects they're talking about.
I mean, that's fine, isn't it? But it's just,
fine as long as you know.
if you're
and I
expecting
feel
that.
Miriam's a little bit precious.
She is
and
precious, but
that's
yeah,
what I
she
mean.
might not.
She might love it.
yeah.
I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just putting it out there.
It's just Margs effing and jeffing, isn't it? But
It's that Margs
she's about
one, yeah.
to she's about to drop out, so you should be all
And
right.
she's not listening yet, so she won't know.
Very
She's
good.
still coming home from choir.
Very good. Well, I was looking in the news this week.
Okay.
And I actually think there's something that cropped up in the
Links.
news that Annie might
Annie.
be able to speak to.
She'll be probably able to
speak
tell
about.
us, yeah.
Basically, I don't know if you saw this, Annie, but in the news this week, they found, I think it was in Japan.
Today it was on the news.
Today, a large metal ball.
It was bigger than
massive. Like massive.
1.5 meters.
On the beach. And
right?
yeah, it's a thing. And
Sky News.
they don't know, this made, international news.
Yeah.
And they don't, well, what we'd like is if anyone could have a guess
At what it is.
what it is, because they don't know.
I've already said it was one of Darwin Núñez's shots, when he first started coming to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Could be one of them, couldn't it?
Were there any remains of beanstalks nearby?
See, that's a sound observation. That
Thank you very much.
I don't
Big
think
metal ball it was.
they don't
wasn't
know what it is. It's been nicknamed Godzilla egg.
it? I think it's possibly just one of, them globe things that you have in your house, but a really big one. Like
What, a
the one they
globe?
had in the cathedral.
Yeah.
earth.
Yeah.
One of them, and the paint's come off in the sea. Because they reckon it's hollow inside.
well,
Because they thought it was a landmine at first.
Yeah, the bomb squad have been out to it.
Like a sea mine, didn't
Yeah.
they? That first, not a landmine, because that would be stupid, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just let that one slide. Very good, very good. But let us know what you think that could be. Jack, what do you think that is? No, I didn't think you would.
Come on, Jack. Have an opinion, lad.
Jack's in again tonight.
He is.
Jack, did you get any sleep last night, Jack? A little bit of sleep.
What time do you go to bed? Actually, what time do you go to sleep?
12.
12
That's
o'clock.
fine.
What
That's
time did you get
fine.
up today? I know what time you got up today.
1
o'clock. You had loads of sleep.
See, he's getting, I don't know,
Too much.
teenagers.
That's
You
what
think he's
it
getting
is.
too much?
Yeah. After a while, you go over the peak, and then you start getting tired again.
Yeah,
It's a disaster.
that's what's happened too.
Yeah.
But what we explained to our listeners last week is that if Jack's got something important the next day, what would you do, Annie? If you had something important, you think something early tomorrow, important, what would I do the night before?
Maybe go to bed a little bit early.
Go to bed a little
Yeah.
bit earlier, Annie. That's not
No.
an unreasonable.
What do you think Jack does?
Go to bed a bit later because it's so exciting.
A bit
I
later.
do get that.
A bit later. No.
Just don't go to bed. Don't go to bed
There you
at
go.
all.
That's
Just,
it.
But I get that, Jack, because you don't want to oversleep, do you? Like if
Yeah.
it's really important, you might oversleep. You might set your alarm 16 times over and it doesn't go, or any number of fortuitous things that you gotta have a massive giant ball falls from the sky.
Well, that's it. Anything
Before
could
you
happen.
miss the event, so you want to
Wants
be
to make
awake
sure
for
he
that
doesn't
night.
miss anything in
I
case
think
he has to
actually it's quite
reference it.
astute.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well done, Jack.
It turns out we're all doing it wrong.
Turns out you're the one who's in the right here, mate.
If you saw the...
I just support the underdog.
Well, that's it.
That's all it is.
You're going to be supporting Allan this evening. If you saw the amount of energy drinks that Jack, consumes, you might not think it was...
Is that right?
Is it? Oh, he's a legend though. He's come down for the last few weeks. He's helping us out on the pod.
He has.
And he's the one. He knows technology. He's just
fantastic.
It's magical. It's magical.
Is it there?
It's right. It's right there. Right there.
I reckon your head could be a big mental ball.
Maybe it's just my head.
It might have been someone doing a sculpture of your head.
Possibly. Danny was in there with, is it Darwin Nunez's shot? Quite possible. He stole your joke. Harry Kane's penalty against France.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
There you go. That's another one.
Also, it's a bowling ball from the Iron Men. For the Iron Men. So that's the link. That's why we thought, Annie.
Yes.
So I thought maybe we could hear a little bit about In Another Place. Because tell us a little bit about the organisation, the charity, and where it started. Because there's that link between the Iron Men in Crosby
there is.
And
In Another Place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, arguably, we moved to Crosby just before the statues did.
Oh, okay.
But they'd been planned for a long time, to be fair. So probably the planning was longer for the Iron Men than it was for us. But we arrived, the first time I saw the Iron Men, some of them were still lying on the car park ground in the car park of Crosby Leisure Centre.
So if people aren't aware what these are, if they're not local to Liverpool, because that would be a mental thing, wouldn't it, for people to discover, if people didn't know that was some sort of art installation and just seeing out on the beach, that would be, it's iron
so they're naked statues
of the
Anthony
artist.
Gormley. Yeah. Fortunately, with his privates facing the sea, so you're not immediately.
I mean, in fairness, it doesn't show the privates. They're kind of non-binary.
It does.
No, they do. They are on there.
I think you haven't been lately.
I haven't been lately.
Yeah.
To the beach.
To the beach.
So they've got like proper
they're fully
bits.
Yeah.
Wow.
See,
I mean, not in massive detail. It's an
Clearly.
iron sculpture that gets submerged in the sea all the time, but it's definitely male, Alan.
I just think it's mad that this was a thing. Like, what? How did this get through planning permission?
He's done it everywhere, didn't he? And then he put them there for a bit.
Is this man okay?
Tom,
is he just like taking...
He gets paid a fortune.
If you think about it, there's naked artwork all over the place, isn't there? Like old stuff in museums and sculptures and things. They were really into naked stuff.
I don't mind that. That's fine.
Because it's in
I think the
building
issue...
out the way.
Well, yeah, it's on the beach for starters, which he's not like... You could have a towel around him or something like that.
It's not like it's a nativist beach, is it?
No.
Right.
Also...
Put your shorts on, lad.
For me, is mind-blowing is I don't think often the artists of these beautiful naked people pictures, I don't think often they thought, I want to do a naked person.
Yeah.
And then just like...
yeah.
Did it. So that's... is he an okay... Do you know anything about him? What's he like?
I've met him.
Have you? He seemed all right.
Seemed all right.
Was he wearing clothes?
Right. Fully clothed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were there before Anthony Gormley was there in all his beauty.
Well, as I say...
It's not him.
It is him.
It's a picture of him.
Yeah, it's him himself.
He's done himself.
I think, to be fair, he's making a plasticast of himself and of a body, and he thinks that's a bit mean. So if I'm not prepared to do it myself, then I shouldn't make someone else do it. So that's quite nice, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but we now all know the size of his willy.
Yeah, I don't know whether that bit is completely in proportion. It might have exaggerated it.
I mean,
that's it, isn't
it's
it?
cold on the beach, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
So, but wow, I didn't know it was him.
It is.
Yeah.
I can't believe.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. I just thought they wouldn't get away with that. It was a while ago, wasn't it? Now
You'd get away with it still.
2005. It's not that long.
Yeah.
He moved them around for a bit, didn't he? But then he decided to keep them.
Did you want to know a bit about this?
All right,
I mean, I know we really want to get onto the charity work, but obviously you can give us the full
link.
Yeah, no, I'm interested. 100%. I just don't want you to think we brought you down here to give us the history of the naked statues on the beach.
So we'd just moved to Crosby,
and
then I'd heard about these statues on the beach, and I'd previously only ever been to the beach, once a few times from other parts of Liverpool. So I thought, I'll go down, see what they're like. Who knows? They were a bit controversial at the time. And as I say, loads of them weren't in the ground yet. There's 3 meters of them that's buried in the ground. And
but that's not part of him. He's not 3 meters beneath the
He's
ground.
not.
He's a tall fella.
It's just like a sleeper that's in the
Okay,
ground
all right,
thing.
cool.
And
The piles live in handy so that they don't
yeah,
fall over,
exactly,
basically.
because it's got the tide coming
Yeah,
over,
yeah.
especially the ones way, way, way out to sea, because it's a really, really far tide. So it was a really difficult exercise to put them all in, apparently, because the beach, although you think beaches are flat, it's not flat at all. It's quite undulating, but he wanted them all to look level with each other.
Of course,
so that was quite difficult. And also, some of them are way out to sea, so the only time you could dig them in was when the sea was way out, and then you have to get a great big digger out there to dig quick. 3 meters deep, before you're swamped.
Alan used to be a builder. I don't know if you know. He's dropping little building talk here and there.
Yeah. He'll suck a pile driving machine in there.
Yeah, driven the
so
piles.
it was
straight, really low.
You know, a lot of effort to do.
Yeah.
Plus, I could tell you a lot of things, but apparently there's a bit of debate over who owns the beach. Is it the Queen? Is it somebody else? So that's quite a big thing, just getting permission to put them on the beach.
Yeah,
as well.
wow.
Anyway, I saw them and I thought they were fantastic. I loved them. And then I thought, previously I'd been running an after-school club in Everton for 10 years.
Yes.
And we used to have a nativity walk through the park to try and bring a bit of magic back into Christmas from the actual Christmas story, not just Father Christmas. And I thought, maybe we could do that sort of thing on the beach. Crosby's a bit posher than where we were in Everton. So we did manage sheep in Everton a few times. But I thought, well, we could probably manage some horses maybe and stuff like that. Dress up some of the statues. That would be really cool. They're quite controversial, so maybe quite a few people would be interested. And I'm all about trying to get some good news out there.
Yeah.
So was mulling that over. At the end of the holidays, this all goes a bit bonkers. My parents, who used to be farmers, turned it into a zoo about 25 years ago. And they said, why don't you
That's where Who's the King of the Jungle come from, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Before. Good try.
Sorry.
And then they said, why don't you use a real camel? Because they'd had this camel that had been born, rejected by its mother, was quite tame, and had gone back to its other company that owned him. But so we got Callum the camel. I booked him up, and then come back to Crosby. So all these people that don't really know us at all, and I said, just thinking about running a nativity in the dark in the middle of winter on the beach, I've got access to a real camel. Now, what I didn't know is in Crosby, people are really polite. So even if they think you're absolutely nutty and they don't agree with your idea, they go, that's nice.
That's interesting.
I didn't realise that for about 8 years. I thought they just had completely agreed with me. Because in Everton, people say, if they think it's a rubbish idea...
They tell you.
Exactly. So I'd had 15 years of Everton of people telling them what they think. So I thought, great.
So you just thought
everyone loves it.
You just thought, I'm smashing ideas
and
now out of the park. Every single one. Gold dust.
I think they just felt overwhelmed by this very enthusiastic, slightly weird woman who wanted to have a nativity in the dark on the beach with a camel. And I sort of go, okay, we'll go with that. And actually, amazingly, we did manage to get a cast together. Some of them had done acting before. Many of them hadn't. We learned a lot of lessons of all sorts of things that went wrong. But actually, and the
do
risk
it when the
assessment,
tide's out.
Yeah.
we had worked out about the tide.
It's just like the
early on.
actors just
Thank you.
onto their necks.
Drowned. Hanging on to Iron Man.
I thought it was a nativity, not Noah.
Yeah, I would say there are easier places to run a play than
not
on a beach
Wow.
in the dark in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
But because it was bonkers, and I would like to say maybe because the good Lord had actually put the idea in my head and other people's heads as well, it was amazing. We got covered by both local television stations, and about 5,000 people came to the beach.
Some people from our church were involved.
5,000 people came to the beach.
Spread over 4 performances. The biggest
winter.
single performance was 2,500 people.
Wow,
there.
that must have been crazy.
It was amazing. The whole of Blundell Sands was gridlocked. People just abandoned their cars.
Wow.
On double yellows. And everyone walking across the grass there was just swarms of people.
Coming just to hear the nativity story and to see Anthony Gormley in all his glory.
Well, they didn't see a lot of that because it was dark. We went and you saw them from the back.
So did you have to
To be honest with you, not many people know this, there wasn't really a statue in quite the right place for the bit of beach that we'd picked because
Okay.
they're a bit far out and the audience were using... We were up by the Coast Guard station.
Yeah.
And it's like the sea wall is like stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And so the audience were on those, so they got a nice view. But the statues are quite far out and we wanted to dress at least one up, like as a sort of wise man-ish, robed person.
Yeah.
So we actually had been donated parts of a shop dummy. They weren't the same shop dummy, but, we did manage 2 arms, a body, some legs and things. So we painted that Iron Man colour and planted it much nearer the audience so it was in the right place. So we called her Plastic Woman. And even the person that had organised for the Iron Men to be put in didn't realise that there was us.
Wow.
And she had her hand on her hip.
Yeah, you should have left that there. That would have been boss.
That would have been hilarious.
I'm not sure it would have stood.
Yeah, no, it probably wouldn't
quite as
stand.
well,
The
to be
piles,
fair.
we need piles to be driven very low to
Yeah.
keep it there.
Yeah.
You'll have piles.
And so, that's just incredible. And was that the start of In Another Place? Was that
It was
because the statues are called Another Place?
they are.
I
And
see
we
what you
thought
did
we
there.
are
In another place.
Another place. At another place. Yeah.
Great.
Cool name. So then that was just a one-off originally, and then because of
What
all
were you
these
doing
people
at this
came-
point? Because if that obviously wasn't a thing, a job, it wasn't a charity that you've now built. What were you actually doing?
Well, I was still commuting into Everton 3 or 4
So
days
you're
a
working
week,
in Everton
running
still?
this after-school club.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay.
And so that carried on for a couple of years. And
Yeah.
then, meanwhile, having done this nativity play that was so successful, we then thought, oh, well, maybe we do another play on the beach, but this time in the sun, in the summer. That's a novel idea.
That makes
Daylight.
perfect sense.
Yeah.
Daylight,
Perfect
then you
sense.
don't need to actually have lights and generators and things
Yeah.
like that.
When the
They're quite-
tide's out.
Exactly. We were good on the tide. We worked the tide out all the time. But so we did a play called Tales in Another Place in the summer, which were Tales spelt Tales. And that was all different animals that were in Bible stories, some of the parables that Jesus told, but modernized them. So, for example, the Good Samaritan, some people may have heard of. There's a donkey in the Good Samaritan story because the fella puts the sick guy on his donkey. But we had a donkey as in donkey rides on the beach.
Nice.
And the fella that was the donkey ride person said, yeah, mate, we'll give you a lift to the ambulance or whatever.
Yeah.
The Aussie. Can't remember.
The Aussie.
Can't remember how kind he was. Just the ambulance or the Aussie. And so there was, stories like that. So the camel came back. But camels in the summer look awful.
What do you mean?
Because all the hair drops off and then they molt.
Well, you'd have thought they were good in the
Oh.
They
summer,
look a bit bold.
wouldn't you?
Do they?
Wouldn't you think they'd be good in the summer? Because they're in
That's-
deserts all the
You
time.
think that's when you need them?
They'd be flourishing, wouldn't they, in the summer?
Yeah.
But they've gone
That's when they're
baldy.
at their best.
Yeah, I mean, not bold, but
Yeah.
like just crew cut.
So people were
And then in the
people were a bit
winter-
disappointed
Well,
when
I
they
was.
saw it.
I was. I didn't
Yeah.
mention it because I obviously said, oh,
In
fantastic.
case they were feeling self-conscious, the
Got to
camel.
make it sound good, haven't you? Even if you're disappointed. Highly disappointed.
PVA glue.
That's right.
PVA glue the camel.
Down the local bars, shoving stuff on. Multicoloured camels.
So I don't know if you can guess why the camel was there in the summer.
Why was
Bit
the
of
camel?
Bible knowledge for two
Oh,
Well,
ministers.
here we go.
There we go.
What could possibly go wrong?
We'll ask our audience, Tom, because they
Wow.
obviously
Hey!
they clearly know more than
Nice.
us, don't they? We've got a good crowd in.
Yeah.
They'll know. They'll know which
Most all of the
story's
time.
got a camel in the Bible.
I know what story it is. I just want to see if you know what
do
story it is.
Do you?
Yeah.
Blarney.
Go on then.
No, I'm just waiting for you. To
No,
see
I'm
if
waiting for
you
you
can
now.
get it.
I submit to your superior authority. I haven't got a clue.
There's some comments coming in talking about how cold it is on the beach. It is cold. Chris has put a comment in that I'm not reading out loud, Chris, but that is hilarious. But we cannot say that. People think I'm blushing. Mikey said Tom's blushing. Go on, go down, Jack. Let's see what else are up there. Very good. Oh, and we're getting some football scores update as well. Very good. So, Annie, how did you end up doing this kind of thing? You're singing songs about jungles when you're 14. Yeah. Nativities. Had you always been a person of faith, or how's that come about for you? Because obviously, it doesn't sound like you're living what some people might call a normal life. If you're
You're making a judgment there.
No, not like I'm not saying you're abnormal.
Say she's not normal.
I'm just saying you're not, PVA gluing camels and stuff.
It's not right.
I know the PVA glue that you've just fabricated a story. I did never put any PVA on a camel my life.
He does what most good storytellers say. They say something as a bit of a random comment, and then it just becomes true.
On it.
It just becomes true after that.
Shock horror. Local,
fake news.
Local woman.
No PVA was attached to this camel at any
No camels were glued at any point in this performance.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, how did you become a Christian?
That was easier, wasn't it? Hey.
Well, I became a Christian having been, had a pretty wicked past with a lot of shameful things.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Tell us more.
And finally, when I was 6,
after your second album, you did the difficult album.
Yeah.
After I was 6, I followed my sister's example, which, to be fair, I did nearly everything that my sister did, who was 16 months older. And she had just asked Jesus into her life, so I did the same. Which I'd like to think it wasn't just... Well, I do actually remember it. So I don't think it was just because she was doing it. But, she was a good sister.
Yeah.
So I might as well... If she's done it, it's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
So I was in the kitchen at the time. Very holy place to be.
Wow.
Just by the larder door.
The larder door.
I've heard of a larder,
It's an old farmhouse. Not a larder car.
No, not a larder car.
Just in case
No.
you think.
I've heard of a larder, though. Yeah. My nan has one. Or I think it started getting called a pantry, possibly, as well.
Cool,
Bit of
you're a bit posh, you
bit
two,
of a
aren't you?
flip in between.
Listen, I was born.
Posh, you probably had a fridge freezer, you.
I'm from down near Brazil, so I was like this. So it was a larder.
Okay.
You're from Brazil?
No, Bristol.
Bristol, my love. Do you know down in the West Country? Down there. Actually, it was Somerset, not Bristol. It's about 8 miles outside Bristol.
Wow, what's happened to your voice?
She was in Everton for 8 years. 10 years.
15 years.
15
years.
Get your facts
So,
right.
yeah, get facts.
Gluing camels.
I know.
To the stadium.
That gluing camels is going to stick now. People are going to see you in the street.
And
they're going to
He's not a
say,
good enough comedian
that
to
wasn't
get
me
that
who said
pun.
that. It was you.
He doesn't even know he did a pun now, does he?
I know.
I did know I done it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 6 years old
So
in
I
the
was-
larder.
Not in the
Not
larder.
in the larder. By the larder, in the kitchen.
It's just difficult on facts,
Keeps
aren't you?
making
years
things
old.
up, doesn't
I
he?
know.
Does
She
it to
was
me all the time.
6 years old,
No
driving a
PVA
larder
glue.
Driving a larder
No
with a
PVA
tub of
glue
glue.
was
through
involved.
Everton with a camel on the roof rack. She glued to it. I mean,
Listen, I've driven through Bristol with a lion on the back of the trailer, but not a camel on the larder.
is that from your parents' zoo?
No, it's a pretend lion. From
I don't know what's
St.
going on
George's
today.
don't know
I'm
what's
so
happening.
sorry, Annie. You're such
He's
a
not
lovely
normally
person.
like this. He normally has to tell me to shut off. Look at you.
Anyway, shall I go back
Corey.
to the serious stuff
Yes.
of
Yes,
how I
please.
became a Christian?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
don't think you're treating it seriously. This is from the heart.
Okay.
Okay.
Go for it.
So I was
Sorry.
by the larder door
Yeah.
with my mum, and I asked Jesus into my heart,
Yeah.
and that was it.
What? So
That's it. That's the story.
but as a 6-year-old, so I'm guessing your parents were
I was
Christians.
pretty bad before.
Were your
doing it.
Yeah.
parents Christians?
My parents were Christians.
Yeah.
They actually, my mum became a Christian at Billy Graham rally.
Oh,
Oh.
in Liverpool.
No,
No.
London. She's from London.
Okay.
From
Maybe Liverpool.
wherever it was.
from
else.
Brazil.
And don't forget, that'll be in 1960s instead, won't it?
Yeah, ancient.
Yeah, it'll be in 60s.
1955.
Or it'll be in
Okay.
80 something.
Yeah.
And my dad became a Christian at his school. I think when he was about 12.
Okay. Wow.
So they were Christians when they married, and that was really important to them. So we were brought up in a home where we talked about Jesus, about God, like he was just another member of the family. And my dad, as a farmer, used to pray about what he should plant.
Oh, I love
each
that.
year, which crops and
That's
stuff
brilliant.
like that.
Potato man.
There's a guy who did that, didn't there? Angus thingy.
Yeah, Buchanan.
One of my favourite stories about my
It's not
dad
Buchanan.
is he had.
You're thinking of the guy who does Through the Keyhole.
No, I'm not.
Who lives in
What's
a
his
house
name?
like this.
Potato man. Someone
Angus
else tell
Buchan.
us.
I've met
Well,
him.
I was close.
Just missing out on this
Sorry.
story, aren't they, Jack?
Sorry.
Terribly
We're not
rude.
normally this bad, honestly.
not?
No, honestly.
I
We're
don't
not.
believe
It's
you.
him.
Annie knows. Annie's been to our church many times, so she
did,
knew
yeah.
what she was signing up
did.
for here, and
I
she's
did.
wonderful and came anyway.
Anyway, one of my favourite stories of my dad
Yeah.
is he had a cow that was really sick. He was a dairy farmer, and they tried everything that they could, normal stuff, to make it better. And then the vet was there and had said, "I'm really sorry, but the cow's not going to get better. It's going to die." So then my dad said, "Well, do you mind if we pray for it?" So the vet thought, he's paying for my time. It's probably all right.
Yeah.
So my dad prayed for the cow, and the outcome of the story was the cow died, but the vet became a Christian.
Wow.
Because he thought, crazy farmer.
Yeah.
Thinks something's going to happen, and I don't know. Something must have happened, mustn't it?
I thought PVA glue was going to come in then again.
No PVA glue at that point.
Here we go. Is it this Bible story?
Yeah.
It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than to stick it to the top of a larder.
I didn't know that.
The comments are there.
I forgot that story.
Mikey's thrown up the paraphrase of my question, which was, "Hey Annie, you're not normal. Was there ever a time that you were normal?" That's not what I said. I couldn't say, the words weren't right for me.
No.
Very good. Let's all leave Tom alone now.
Who's that?
Very good.
Emma.
No, Tao. Let's all leave Tom alone. Very good. So, I grew up in a Christian house as well. I love the face you pull, Annie, as I start talking. It's like you're looking at like, what is this?
You had on one tonight, though. I've got to be honest.
It's like she's going, I'm doing my best to give a like listening look, but he's nuts.
Look. Yeah. Listen, I'm a qualified counsellor. I can do a listening look.
I feel counselled. It's good.
I feel cancelled.
He should have cancelled you. That's what the Daily Mail did. He's been on Britain's Got Talent, if you haven't heard. Have you heard that? He's on Britain's Got Talent. And so as I was saying, I can't remember what I was saying.
You were saying you were brought up in a Christian
I was brought up in a Christian house, and I had the benefit of that in that my parents, we just talked about God, and
I wasn't.
For me, that was normal, which is obviously, as I've grown up, I've realised, it's real for myself. But from a great starting point, I had my parents kind of living faith out, and me seeing that it worked. Something, it works. So I thought this, in some ways, I didn't doubt. I thought God must be real because I saw something real about it in the way my parents lived. And so you had a front row, front row watch to that as well. And so for you, was it just then
plain sailing?
Plain sailing.
Not totally.
I'm imagining not, because it's not been in my life, plain sailing.
I think it was fine. There were a couple of points I look back on. One was when I was about 12. Up until then, I've been quite popular at school and stuff like that. And then at about 12, I started
writing songs.
No, that came later. That was when I was fully unpopular.
Okay.
No, I think because people started having opinions about things, and so sometimes I would disagree with people or give a Christian perspective, and people said, "Oh, it's some weird religious nut," and things like that. So that was we went to a really exciting church in the centre of Bristol, which is called Pipon J, and it was. I was one of the first 3 kids in the Sunday school at a time when there were very few people in the church, and we saw it in 10 years grow to 300 people in the church, and all sorts of really exciting things there. And so when I was 12, there were some people visiting, and I asked God for something called to be filled with the Holy Spirit. When you get filled up with some sort of level of joy and determination and strength and things that you wouldn't have under your normal self. And so that was a bit of a point when I suppose I felt this is for me that I'm doing. This isn't just because of my family or anything else. I'm going up to the front of this church. They said if anyone wants to come up and be prayed for. So I did. So that was one point. Then the next point, school was a challenge, to be honest with you. Me and my sister started a Christian union in school, and we were told, okay, that's all right, but the head of RE will support you to do that. So this was to get a group of Christian other students together from the school to just pray and things. And they said, you can do it, but you mustn't pray, read the Bible, or sing anything.
Wow.
So we're thinking, okay, that's quite restricting, because those were the main 3 things that we might have done. And,
what was they thinking? What were they just worried?
I don't know.
They didn't say you couldn't dance.
They didn't. So I don't know what
with
the
a
logic
flag.
was. I think maybe they thought, we'll stop the extremism.
Okay.
Nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
Don't let them do anything.
Yeah.
No, and that'll be all right. But we decided that we would meet in secret. So it was like, okay, we're
We'll go
now going to
underground.
rebel against.
Yeah.
We did, and we met sometimes under the stage, in amongst all the props. Maybe that's why I'm doing theatre stuff now.
Yeah.
And prayed there. Sometimes we sat on the wall in the playground and prayed, but just looked like we were talking to each other,
yeah.
so nobody knew. So it was somehow they managed to make being a Christian really cool.
Wow.
Because
Because they banned it.
Because they banned it.
Fancy banning something with kids. They're going to do it, aren't they?
So.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So there you go. So that was through school. And then my next point really was I did a psychology degree at university.
Okay.
And at the time, their psychology
Coming
was
handy with you
seen
tonight.
She's reading me like a book.
She is.
like
I'm worried now.
So at the time, Christians thought psychologists were weird and quite dangerous, and psychologists thought Christians
were
were
weird
bonkers.
and dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a slightly unhappy place to sit in the middle, where I loved psychology. I thought it was fascinating and really, really interesting. I hadn't done it at school, so it was fascinating. And also as a Christian, it felt to me like, well, why shouldn't psychology be? Psychology is just the study of human behaviour.
Yeah.
We've got loads of different behaviours as humans, but some of us, it's about spiritual stuff as well. Some of it is about why do people try and find religions or talk about God or find deep emotions inside them they wouldn't find, and all those stuff. So, but I did go through a bit of a crisis at that time because we ran a little mission and we were talking to some of the lecturers and things, and they were bombarding me with questions and stuff, and really I would say they hadn't really read the Bible because they were querying all sorts of things, and they saying stuff about Jesus which wasn't logical with what the Bible said. But anyway, at the end of a weekend of being bombarded with questions, I did feel pretty wrung out. And then on the Monday morning, the lecture was, who am I? And I sat in this lecture thinking, I'm actually not really sure anymore. I think I've sort of reached a blank, and maybe it's not true. Maybe my parents were very well-meaning, but it's actually a load of rubbish, and maybe we just are intelligent rats, and that's it. And so I left the lecture in tears and went out, sat in the park. This was in Sheffield, and lay on the grass in the park, just looking at the sky for a bit. And for a moment, it all felt black, and it felt, well, maybe there is nothing. There is no meaning. There is no purpose. And we are just random accidents. But then looking up at the trees and the sky, I just thought, I can't believe that all this came by chance. For me, that's a bigger statement of faith than it is to say that God made it and made some purpose with it all and some design in it all. So from then on, probably over the next 6 weeks, I started putting the jigsaw back together. And so I think, there's ups and downs. I was a drugs counsellor for 7 years. There were a few times in that as well where people queried things, some of my colleagues actually. But I guess the further I've gone through life where there'd been all sorts of answers to prayer and things like that, I think I no longer am going to doubt, because it makes most sense to me.
I sit in green rooms with comedians who are notoriously atheist. A lot of comedians, not all of them, but quite a lot of them are quite in-your-face atheist. And I get all the kind of stuff that you're talking about all the time. And I kind of like the kind of postmodern thing that we're in.
Yeah.
Post-truth thing that we're in. Because
so it's a level playing field, isn't it?
It is now, yeah. Because you can just say, well, this is my truth. This is what I believe the world to be. And then you've got the same story. And what I often find is we talked with Brendan, didn't we? And they end up talking about like energies and stuff like this. And I when people say that to me, I hear God. I don't hear energies. Do you understand what I mean? Because I've had loads of conversations like that where I think I hear God and they're God's fingerprints, but they're just not quite recognizing that. They're recognizing there's energies there, and I'm there then saying things like, I think that's the God of creation, and them creation energies that you're feeling, they're God's spirit. So you were talking about the Holy Spirit before. God's spirit. I say things like that, and I find there's loads of like, what are they called? Where you can agree in a sense, but you're using different language in it.
Yeah.
I think, but I had loads of people batter me with stuff all the time. You know what I mean? And one of the easiest things to say is, you know what? I don't know.
That's it. I don't feel the need. So I used to have to feel the need to have all of it boxed off and have every answer, and I just. That was a pretty soul destroying attempt, because
you answer the question and they just hit you with something else. They're not even interested in having a right answer, are they? Most of the time, it's just about deconstructing you.
Yeah, but also sometimes I just think it's really interesting finding out what other people think and what they believe and things, because actually sometimes it's just got weird and wonderful beliefs that you just go, wow, that is incredible. How can you think? Well, like your big metal ball on the beach in Japan, that somebody how many theories people might come, but actually some people might really believe some crazy things about that. But you can always learn from other people, can't you? And as you say, sometimes people end up describing nearly the same thing, but they've just got different words for it.
Yeah, I think that was a bit.
I think a number of people, there's a number of people who have maybe had different beliefs or maybe no belief, but then when they kind of have an experience or come to a realization that, Christianity is real, Jesus is real, then they can sometimes then look back and see like all those signs or things throughout their life, which they can suddenly make sense of. It's like almost like this picture has come together and makes sense now in the light of this realization.
It's almost a bit like, we're getting all like deep tonight, Tom.
Yeah,
it's like the Apostle Paul, in it, when the scales fall off his eyes, they can kind of see.
Yeah,
they see what the reality of things.
He actually had the wrong contact lens prescription in.
Is that what it was?
I thought that was it.
You've ruined that for me.
Not a Christian anymore now.
That's me, Tom. Let's
go. It was
go.
quite early days. Contact lenses, they hadn't really developed them very well.
No. Wasn't very good, was he?
Yeah. So it's not only, there's that face again. Don't you try and sort me out, Annie.
It's impossible.
I'm a conundrum. That's what Allan says. So it's not just been the nativity on the beach. It's not just been the gluing camels to top of cars. It's also been gluing other things. No, it's been all sorts.
Lions from St. George's Hall.
Yeah, so we had Chris in the comments saying she came down to Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. Me and my family have been along to many things. Thousands of people over the period, of years have come to an event or an activity that In Another Place have done. But what's the kind of vision for In Another Place? And what's your idea behind it?
Yeah, what's it all about?
Okay. Well, I would say, just to go slightly further back, for myself, my motivation in my life, I think, is to take good news outside the church.
Okay.
And so when I was 19, there was a mission, and talked about take the cross of Christ should be in the marketplace as well as on the church steeple. Okay. And I guess that's a lot what I'm about, is that loads of people don't go to church, don't find it relevant, not their sort of thing. But that doesn't mean they're not interested in God.
Yeah.
And actually, Jesus, when he was on the earth, spent most of his time not in the equivalent of a church, which was a synagogue.
Yeah.
A lot of time he spent out talking with people in the villages, in the streets, in people's houses, out on the grass, on the lake, whatever. And so he was where the people were. So that is what I've felt. I've felt that Jesus has made such a difference to my life that I think it's fantastic news that he can make things good and, give you purpose and everything. So I want other people to know. So that's what I'm about. So by the time I got to starting In Another Place, which, we just did the random nativity, first of all, we we'd got this group of people together who were also interested in taking good news outside the church. Because the other really good thing is sometimes there's lots of different brands of church, aren't there? There's like Catholics and Anglicans and Baptists. Who wants to be a Baptist?
Who'd be a Baptist?
Free church or Orthodox.
Free
all sorts
church,
of things.
not so free.
So all those different brands of church, and actually, fundamentally, we all believe the same God, same Jesus, and the same Bible. But we just have slightly different ways of doing things. Some like to clap the hands more. Some people are a bit more solemn. Some people like a bit of bells and smells, But it depends what you like. And when you try and get together and have a service that you all like, you never agree because you don't like it.
Ends up rubbish, doesn't it?
Yeah. But if you go outside the church to loads of people that don't even know God at all, it doesn't matter whether this person is a Baptist or a Catholic or an Orthodox or not even got a faith at all. They just need to hold the ladder. They just need to PVA the
camel.
Camel's hair on.
That's right. So then it becomes actually it's all really about teamwork because you've got a bigger mission to do, which is to take that good news to people that don't know it at all.
So good.
We've created an urban myth
about the camel.
Yeah.
You know
We've
what?
defo created you've created an urban myth. This will be legendary in 10 years.
In many
people will be
years.
saying, remember when she glued the hair to the cow? I was there. That's what they'll be saying.
They will do.
They will, I'm telling you.
Many years in the future when Annie, goes to be with Jesus and they're saying they're singing "Who's the King of the Jungle."
Yeah.
They're doing
At
the funeral.
At the funeral with the actions. It all comes together.
Yeah.
It does. Apart from don't do it while carrying the coffin. That's a disaster because
No.
you got to go ooh
They'll
properly.
drop you. Yeah.
Knocked you on the head. You got 6 dead pallbearers as well.
Yeah, coffin
good at
breaks
all.
open.
Yeah,
someone's
not good.
super glued hair all over you. And then they say, Annie,
remember the time, remember that time.
Yeah.
Why does that turn into Peter Kay then? I don't know what happened there. Remember that time? Remember when she glued all the hair on the camel because it was baldy? First transplant a camel's ever had.
That's supposed to be Peter Kay.
No, I don't know what it was, to be honest. Well, this is just descended into madness.
And there's
It must be love.
Annie, I'm so sorry.
You're sorry. You started this.
I'm trying to do a deep, profound
it's been
interview
brilliant.
here. You've completely blown it.
And
to
told
bits.
you.
Tao says, what's with this theme of glue tonight? Tao obviously arrived a little bit late. But, one of the things we've had at Emmanuel many times is the choir.
Yeah.
The
Because
choir.
you've just branched out to everything. You're just doing all sorts. It's fantastic. Loads of great stuff. And we've had the choir come and sing.
Lots
and
of
again,
times.
that's just been something we've had. Music's powerful. We've just had people, come along and see the choir. We never would have been able to get into church. And we've had the choir sing in the square, haven't we?
Yeah.
And all that. So it's just fantastic. I mean, but is that all kind of, how has that happened? How has all this different stuff kind of happened?
Well, I would like to give a bit of credit to God because I think He's helped
Good.
quite
A
significantly.
lot, yeah.
But I guess it's sort of snowballed. After those first few events on the beach, we did, I think, 5 different events on the beach. Never with as many people as that first time.
Yeah.
People like novelty.
Yeah, I want something different and new.
Yeah. And I think it was the 5th or the 6th thing we were going to do on the beach, which was for Capital Culture Year. We got on the local news again because we were the first outdoor event for Capital Culture Year. That was our clever thing. 3rd of January, I thought the only way we can do it is by having something novel. So we'll be the first one.
You're good at PR, aren't you, Annie? I think you've got a way of catching the attention of people.
Yeah.
So we did a sort of potted history of Liverpool called Shaping in Liverpool with some of the untold stories of Christians that had influenced, like the monks that started the ferry across the Mersey. Did you know that?
No.
I did.
There you go.
And various other ones.
Is that an urban myth or did that really happen?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. Rode it at the time.
That's where that other song she wrote.
Row the
boat.
No, that's not. That was not me, and I'm not that old. So anyway, we did that performance. We were supposed to do it on the beach, and big disaster struck. It was really, really windy. We couldn't manage to do it. We had to relocate into the churchyard of St. Luke's Church, which was the one that we knew best. And still managed to get 3,000 people there
Wow.
because it had been on the local news. While they came and did a report while we were putting a ground sheet in a tree as the screen, and all sorts of improvised things, borrowing a stage from one of the churches and things. Anyway, after that one, I felt as though God was saying, okay, you've had your training ground, you've done the beach, now you can go semi-indoors. Hallelujah.
The Strand.
No, that was years to come. That's luxury.
You've had your training course, you can go to the Strand.
No, so then we went to Merchant Taylor.
I see.
Come on.
I see.
That's not right. That's not right. You're on the way down then, aren't you?
Yeah.
So we went to Merchant Taylor's and did a big event there. Camel came back. That was later that same year, I think this was.
What year is this? 2009?
2008. You should know when Capital Culture
was. Oh, I knew
was.
what time that was. Well, I didn't know when.
Okay, sorry. You lost track.
Okay, yeah.
So the Camel came back and we did, it was an outdoor event, but we did it, we had electricity because from power rather than generators, which is just tremendous.
Yeah.
And we had the building to shelter in and stuff like that. There are so many stories, I won't go into it. But anyway, that happened. And then we ended up, 2009, we thought, let's do a Narnia production. This had come because actually way back in our very first year, someone had lent us a little tiny shop unit, maybe twice the size of this salubrious
establishment.
Have you noticed the heating's gone off?
Yeah. I'm relieved actually because I'm not used to heat. In the Strand, we can't afford the heat, so I was going to melt in a minute.
I think the fuse is blown.
That's right. It's probably because I'm sitting here.
No.
So, anyway, so we'd had this little tiny shop unit, and as to have it as a prayer room over one Christmas where they were doing the first ever Christmas market. Crosby light switch on is a big deal. Everybody shows up for it. So we thought, okay, well, let's make it Narnia themed. People like Narnia. I think the Disney films had come out not long before. And this was 2006. So we made it very simply sort of like Narnia, like a little trail, pick up a rock, a pebble, put it in Mrs. Beaver's pond and say thank you for somebody and things like that. Took about 10 minutes to go round. Funny story, the night before, we still didn't have anything for snow on the ground. We thought, to have something, can't just have the carpet. So we'd prayed, please God, show us what we can have as snow. The next day, we went into Crosby Village and there was shredded paper everywhere.
Wow.
Never seen it before. Never seen it after there. So we thought, okay, that'll do.
Amazing.
Probably early days for risk assessments, to be fair.
Yeah.
Quite flammable.
Yeah.
But
Cigarette
at the time, didn't think of that too much. It didn't go on fire. That's all right.
Bonus.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Narnia
turns into hell.
Dante's Inferno.
So anyway, after that, so we had that little Narnia room set up. The first weekend, we had, I think it was 2,000 people came through that tiny little shop. So that gave us a clue that people love Narnia.
Yeah.
So that was sort of in the back of our minds. 2009, I thought, okay, why don't we make that bigger, make it an actual performance. So we have the characters in there, script it, but little sort of monologues. So we used a building called Old Christ Church in Waterloo, which is like a community building. Hired it for a month, did lots of planning, rehearsals. We had 4 of each character, and it was all sub-zero temperatures because the electricity was really dodgy, and we had real Christmas trees. So we thought it's
really dodgy in here tonight as well.
The safe thing to do is not have electricity on, and then we're doing daylight hours, no heating. So we had hot water bottles stowed everywhere. Anyway, it was really popular with the schools. They booked it up, and on the Saturdays there were queues right down the road. One of the visitors was the manager at St George's Hall. So I met him in this glorified broom cupboard that was the waiting room. And he said, hello, I work at St George's Hall. Do you think you could bring this Narnia to St George's Hall? So I said, what's your job there? And he said,
I'm the cleaner.
Astute, you see.
Yeah, well done.
Always
Psychologist.
thinking.
Years of experience.
Years of training. And he said, I'm the manager. I said,
okay.
Okay, I'll talk to you now.
Exactly what I said. Oh, okay. So then I said, right, well, we hadn't thought we would do it again, but we'll have a think about it. So he went into Narnia and I went to the it's the manager of St. George's Hall. He said, well, we do it there. Anyway, it turns out he wanted us to do it small in the corridors underneath for free. So we said, we're not going to come to St. George's Hall and do it small.
No, what are you thinking?
Exactly. If
We're
we're going to
used to
St.
the
George's
beach.
Hall, we're going to do it.
The world is our stage.
So he showed us around the whole place, and we got to the Great Hall, and we said, "Can we have a look in there?" It showed us everywhere else, and that nothing was suitable. And he said, "No, I can't show you in there. It's incredibly expensive. You know, it's like commercial rates, and it was going to be around Christmas time." And we said, "Well, go on, show us anyway." And he said, "No, I don't think you understand the prices that I'm talking about." And so I said, "Well, can we just look?" So he was saying, "I just want to say again, you can't afford it. It's impossible." So we said, "Well, we'll just look." So we went in and we said, "Yeah, we'd like to do it in here." And he said, "But you can't afford it." I said, "Yes,
Yeah, but
that
you
is
can."
a glitch." But in the end, we compromised, and we thought if we do it in the February half term, which is a bit of a dud time of year for them. This was early days in St. George's Hall where they didn't really have all that many family things on. It was really just like careers fairs and corporate dinners. And so most people in Liverpool had never been inside.
Yeah.
Certainly none of us had.
Myself.
And so February half term, he's a fantastic guy, Allan Smith. Shout out to Allan. He's
Allan Smith. We'll have you on the pod, lad. See what you do.
What, the manager of thingy?
St. George's Hall, yeah. He's a real good... I think he's a Anfield born and bred, but he's got a real heart for just the normal average people in Liverpool, not just all the posh people. So he was really keen that we would come and do it. And he, to be fair, he took a big gamble because we had done nothing on that scale at all. You know, we had just done stuff on a shoestring in this old Christchurch, shredded paper provided by the Lord the night before. And
manna from heaven.
Exactly. And suddenly, except we didn't eat it.
Yeah, don't eat
wise.
it. That'd be terrible.
Don't eat
Yeah,
it.
you've got to tell people that sometimes, though, you know, because they
Risk
will.
assessment
They
for
will.
everyone
They'll
now.
eat it.
Yeah.
Do not eat shredded paper.
Or
Yeah,
set it
no.
on fire.
Don't do another
With kids.
urban myth now with the camels and the PVA glue, and now you're eating shredded paper.
Yeah.
Don't
That's
Don't
it.
do it.
eat it. That
You
was
heard
just a
it
flippant
straight
comment
from
about
the-
manna from heaven.
You heard it first
really.
here.
Yeah.
Shredded paper's
So
the
anyway,
future.
so Allan took this massive risk on us. We still had to raise £30,000 rent
Wow.
for 2 weeks. That was a bargain
Wow.
compared to what the price would have been.
Yeah.
And we had zero in the bank. So that was quite a gamble.
I love this.
Yeah.
Your alpha was like this.
Yeah. Just you had 30
Yeah,
grand and
sorry,
you thought that's
carry
a
on.
challenge that I'll
we
take
thought,
it on.
Well, we thought obviously one major thing is when we did it in Old Christchurch, it was free. So we thought we need to charge. And actually, normally when you go to a show or something, you pay.
Yeah.
It's quite a normal thing to do. And the people we were aiming for were people that were not Christians already. And
You used to pay.
but yeah,
Christians pay for
but
nothing.
also because sometimes people that are not Christians, if Christians put things on for free, they go, what's the catch there?
Yeah.
Because you're only trying to get
Yeah, for
entice
free.
me in.
Yeah. Then
That's
you've
right.
got me.
Yeah.
So anyway, but we just had to because we couldn't raise this money otherwise, possibly at all. So we thought, right, the way to do it is hugely increase the capacity, have big long days. Fortunately, St. George's Hall have considerably better electricity than Old Christchurch
Heating.
did.
Going
So,
up in the world.
yeah,
Don't have
we
to set any
did.
kids on fire.
Yeah, we did fill the hall with 80 real Christmas trees,
Wow.
to be fair. So the risk assessment was risky,
Risky.
but not risky if there were no forms of fire. So, don't smoke.
Most
In
things
there.
aren't risky if there's no form of fire.
Exactly. So that was the quite good at those things
Yeah.
now. So anyway, we set up. It meant we had to recruit masses of people. So we went on a big tour of loads of churches and community groups and said, "Would you like to join us?" Because we reckoned by that time we needed 15 of each character.
Wow.
15 Mr. Tumnesses, 15 White Witches, 15 Mrs. Macready's, Professors and Mrs. Beavers, which is a lot of people. And then we had statues who sounds a really boring job, but you actually come back to life. So it's not that boring. And
Allan would make a good statue.
I don't know that he would. He stayed still that long enough. So then you do have to do this little dance. Probably good at dancing. aren't
No.
you? Bit of a mover.
No.
No.
You see him dance.
I've seen Tom dance. Tom gets right into it. He does all the moves and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thinks he's brilliant. He had me
You
dancing.
could be a statue.
He had,
Tom,
we
then.
could be
we
a
ended
statue.
up in the BBC Sports Personality of the Year, right? Just to cut in on your story.
Is that right?
And he had me dancing with the
Paralympic team.
Paralympic team.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were dancing with the Paralympic team.
Good night.
Wife's still fuming because I don't dance with her. Anyway, sorry.
That was a
You've
bit
got-
of a cut-in on the
You've
story,
got to have
I
won a
must
gold
say.
medal for Alan to dance with you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so all these statues. Anyway, we needed 500 volunteers
Wow.
basically to be involved. Because
Sell them all a ticket.
it was the actors. Well,
Still
that
not much.
was
Yeah.
a major part of it, Tom. Is we are under no illusions that we are like Disney or something and going to
Yeah.
get loads of people going, oh, wow, it's in another place putting that on. Nobody had heard of us. They had no idea who we were. But if you've got enough volunteers there, then at least they're going to get their family and
will
friends to
come,
come.
yeah. Yeah.
And so that was part of the plan. The other cunning plan was
That was a great plan, by
to
the way.
get the schools to book in because it's on the curriculum and it's a really brilliant thing to do. And then there were 2 different trails. Did you come to it?
No,
Narnia.
sorry.
What year was this?
Out. We did it 3 times in the
He's
end.
going to
That's
pretend
another
he
story.
came to it now. You know that, don't you?
I came
So-
to Narnia in the Strand. I think that
No,
this
no,
was
this is
in
a
prior
bigger
to-
version.
I think this is prior to me. I went to Cinderella, not Cinderella, Wizard of Oz. Was that you?
Not by us.
Oh, no.
Alice?
Alice in Wonderland. That's the one.
The Alice experience.
Yes, I came to that.
So with
Did
the
you come to it? Have you
first
bought
one-
a ticket?
No.
Lady's 30 grand in debt because you didn't buy a ticket.
She's not. This is a miracle story. You're going to ruin it. Go on.
So anyway, we did it 3 times in the end. 2011 and then later on.
Because you're still
And
trying to pay
so-
back the money, or what
So
was
the
it?
2011 one, we had these 500 volunteers. We got schools to come in, and then because there were 2 different trails, so you could go into Narnia, either experience it as Lucy did, which I don't know how good your Narnia
Very good.
knowledge is.
Mine isn't.
She met, who did she
Mr.
meet?
Tumnus.
Mr. Tumnus, and went all.
Peter.
Kidda Kidda.
Edmund went in. Who did he meet?
White Witch.
Exactly. So you had a very different experience.
So you
going
could do it
around Narnia.
twice.
Do it
That's
twice.
genius.
Genius, aren't you?
Thank
2
you.
That
tickets.
is
very much.
genius.
2 tickets.
2 tickets.
Hey.
Go with school.
Double,
Bring your family back.
Yeah.
And that's
Very
exactly
good. Do the
what
other trail.
happened. And also, Allan was made up because he said, all the cleaners are talking about this and they're bringing their families in. And they were exactly the sort of people we wanted
I'm
to come,
guessing they
just
were fuming with
normal.
all the needles falling off the trees.
Well, actually, I had a funny time. One time, there was this fella walking through with all those blue paper towels for the kitchen,
Yeah.
like right through the middle of the forest. No audience in it. And I said, what are you doing? And he said, just stocking the toilets up with kitchen towel. And I said, there's a production going on. I always go this way. I said, you're walking through a forest. There's Narnia here. You can't do it. Oh, all right.
Just blue snow.
then-
That's all it was.
Then
Blue snow.
Anyway, we found him another route and it was all right.
Very good.
But,
Amazing. That's Tao. Tao was there. She went. It was Boss. Emma said we did go, Tom.
So I wasn't so.
memorable.
It was
So I wasn't so.
Oh, I had to do it twice.
Cost me a fortune.
Different
Got 3
perspectives.
kids.
So can I just tell you about the 30 grand?
Yes.
So
Go
this
on.
lot of
Sorry.
30 grand.
Half of
we had
Seamus
to-
Coleman. People are saying
Yeah.
60
So-
grand. 60 grand. Seamus Coleman.
She got no idea. What
Go
it's
on, carry on.
Yeah,
Everton
sorry.
player.
Over me head. Everton, who are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Just reach into
Anyway.
the converted here. You know.
So in the end, we had nearly 17,000 people came to
Wow.
the production. And we actually ended up making something like 99,000.
Wow.
You made £99,000.
Well, so the 30 grand obviously we
Yeah,
had to pay
you have
back.
to pay back.
And then we had about 25 grand of production costs
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you do actually
Yeah,
have to pay
Pay
for
stuff,
things.
yeah.
And so then the 40 grand or so that we had in the bank meant that we could hire, because this was all done on me as a full-time volunteer
Wow.
from my kitchen table with a 15 hours a week administrator,
Yeah.
and everybody else was volunteers. So we were able to hire him in that was going to pay for him for a couple of years to go full-time.
Incredible.
The administrator. Oh,
Yeah.
it's not. Yeah, okay.
And it took a couple of years to get over the trauma of putting the event
I bet.
on.
I bet. Wow.
I got my husband, Pete Spiers, shout out, good man.
Pete Spiers.
You're right, Pete.
Thank you. I got him to write in his diary, I am never, ever doing this again. There would
Did he
every
write that
day-
in your diary, though?
No, that was
Nah,
probably
that was
There's-
that's
there's
where
the
it went
problem.
wrong.
that was the
That's
He's
where
never
went
done
wrong.
it. He's
He's like, yeah, I won't
he's
do it
kept his
again.
word.
So Annie, we've got a couple more important things.
Yes.
Not more important.
More
We've got another
important.
couple important things to do before we end. But quickly tell us, there's an Easter experience that's going to happen at Easter because it's an Easter experience.
Seasonal thing to do.
Yeah, and just give us the details of that and how people could come along and get involved if they're in the Northwest.
I should just do a quick blast about the Strand because basically people may not realise that Bootle Strand is one of the most exciting places to visit.
Do you know what? It comes up on this podcast very regularly.
Very pleased.
Where Claire came down, she slept in the Strand. They locked her in.
Yeah.
She was in there with the
That's what you get for shoplifting.
wild wolves. I think it was pack of wolves or something.
That's right. No, Bootle Strand is the place to go. And you know, you can get there on the bus, on the train, in a car, on a bike.
You can walk.
So easy to get there. On a canal, if you've got a means of traveling
Camel.
on a canal. Not a camel. Paddleboard. I've got a paddleboard.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to do on a canal. And anyway, but Bootle Strand is a great place to go, partly because we're there and why kids are there.
Loads of good
The
stuff.
Big Onion, have you heard of them? They're there.
I went to the bookshop.
Yeah, that's anyway. Lots
I went
of
to
things.
Strand to get me wife a Christmas presents, and it wasn't a good experience.
You went to the wrong places.
I
That
didn't.
was
I went
your
round the Strand.
problem.
It was like a ghost town.
Home bargains.
No.
That's
I
why we
went
went
to
for Christmas
Downstairs,
presents.
I remember it, the Strand from years ago,
Yeah.
and it was like empty. It was sad to see.
Well, Alan, that is what is absolutely fantastic because it has been empty.
Yeah.
It has been deserted. We've had a pandemic, you may or may not have noticed, which has had a little bit of a glitch on things. But even before then,
I
That's
enjoyed
just to
it.
give people a heads up.
yeah, people had started doing internet shopping. Which of us has not sat on our cozy couch buying? And then we go in the Strand and you go, it's not on here.
Yeah.
Why? Because you bought it all online.
Amazon.
Didn't
It's
get
cheaper.
Exactly.
Got there. Didn't even have to leave the house.
So shopping centres have changed forever.
Yeah.
They're never going to be the same. But the Sefton Council have been very brave and they bought the Strand and they've said, you know what, this is really important for Bootle and for this area, for the whole of Liverpool, the Northwest, the country.
I'm just thinking,
and
shame they
the
didn't do that with the
world.
gyro.
No, they bought the Strand saying, we believe it needs to work, so we're just going to change it around. So we're in the change process. The change process takes a while.
Yeah.
And so we are some of the very fortunate charities to be in the Strand trying to bring those changes about. So do you know there is a medieval castle in the Strand?
I didn't know that.
Is that exciting or is that exciting? And do you know you can go in there for free every Saturday between 12 and 2:30 and watch little 15-minute performances, songs, dance, puppetry. How exciting is that?
I only wanted an amethyst ring.
There you go. So that's because we own a medieval castle now.
Inside
That's
the
what it is.
Strand.
Yeah, well, it's
like
to be
Narnia.
fair, before we owned it, it looked quite like an empty corridor of 11 broken shop units. But we've turned it into a medieval castle.
That's probably where I was trying to get my wife's presents.
Probably was. Well, you'd be all right now. We'll just take her along to one of our performances. So we're there. We've got workshops there. You can come and make props and
She ended up with
costumes,
a lecky
sewing.
toothbrush.
Is that right? Well, she's
She
probably
wasn't
really
happy.
grateful.
No,
She's
she
probably
was
really
not
grateful.
happy. It's all about that.
So anyway,
Sorry.
I'm trying to be positive.
I know.
here.
Go on, no, it's-
I
being
like
positive.
this. I want the Strand to work.
We've got a little choir there. We've got drama workshops. We've got music lessons, inexpensive music lessons, like keyboards, guitar, ukulele. You can learn to sew. You can do workshops. You can make fantastic friends and be a part of the change. And
Wow.
who doesn't want to be part of turning Bootle into a destination that everyone wants to come
I
to?
want the Strand to work because I remember it when I was young. And
Well,
it was,
every
it was
time
good.
you need a lucky toothbrush coming
Yeah.
to the Strand, got great
In
ones.
fact, I
Do you
could
need
And they
another one
even
by
have
next
ones.
Christmas?
You
should
know,
have brushed the teeth that much.
times are hard, so to be honest with you, don't get a lecky one, get one without lecky.
Yeah.
And then you can vigorously brush them and then warm yourself up at the same time, and no, it doesn't cost you anything.
My Emma bought me a, I think it's a bamboo one because it's
Right.
good for the world, but I like
Not so good
Cut
for
my
you.
lips.
Not so good for your lips.
I went back to the
Splinters.
plastic ones. Yeah, it's a splinter from a toothbrush. You didn't
I
tell us
think
about
you
the
asked
Easter
me-
experience,
You still haven't
Danny.
told us
What are you
about the
going on
Easters.
about? Come on.
I was just
went off-
tantalising you, aren't you?
Yeah.
So the Easter experience is going to be on Good Friday, and we've just opened up 2 more performances on Easter Saturday as well. And it's a walkthrough of the story. So you actually get to start in our castle, which is pretty exciting, with the Last Supper and Jesus. And then you walk through this. He goes out to pray. And then we walk through the story, meeting characters who have just met Jesus. So they will tell us how the story went. And then we end up back up in the castle again. So it is free. Again, all these free things, they are free. But if you're able to donate something, that's great, because actually, as you know,
costs
money.
Yeah. So then that means that people really who can't afford anything can really be free. And those that can afford something, put something in.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. And
sounds good.
Yeah, that's going to be happening very soon.
On a website to find out, Facebook or...
They can. Either of the above. In another place. That's all you got to look up. In another place.
Right, it's time, Annie, for Wonky Donkey. We've had a bit of an animal theme here. Do you know how Wonky Donkey works? I'm going to be honest, it's better if you don't. Do you know how it works?
Can I just say, not only do I know how Wonky Donkey works, but
she's an expert.
What's going on here?
She's got her own game.
I've brought with me
a wonky
your own donkey.
I'm the mother of 4 children. They're all grown up now, but we acquired a lot of things. So
if you pull a camel out of a bag now,
it better have a head on.
I have got in here a lucky ducky.
A lucky ducky.
Lucky ducky.
Oh, lucky ducky.
I've got.
Okay. You getting that, Jack?
A rare bear.
A rare bear.
Rare bear.
I think she knows how to play this game.
All right.
I've got in here.
Yeah.
I'm going to forget this. A funky monkey.
No.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It looks like the hair's. It's not much hair left on that one.
I know. Well, it's quite funky though, isn't it?
You need to get the glue out again.
I probably do. I've got in here.
Wait. I'll get it. It's a. Why did I say that? Because I don't know what it's going to be. It's a fat cat.
I would have said that, but fat is not an in word, Tom. That's quite
Apparently
insulting
not.
nowadays. Have you not been reading the Roald Dahl stuff? I don't use words like fat anymore.
Well, you can't call a cat fat.
No, but you can call it a flabby tabby.
Oh, that's a bit harsh.
That was good, wasn't it?
I think that's harsher. It's like you're trying to work around.
I'm nearly at the end now.
Go on,
we're impressed at this.
I am. You've gone to lengths. You've gone to lengths.
I'm just slightly concerned that you carry a bag around with these things all the time, or did you just bring it just for us?
Especially.
Okay, go on.
I brought from my Viking collection.
I'll get this one. It's a Viking thing.
Yeah.
This looks like a horse.
Yeah.
It's a
Norse horse.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you.
Finally,
wow.
From my Australian collection,
more.
Duck-billed platypus.
What? And there's a wonky donkey in that?
No.
Oh.
She had you off there.
She ran me off. At least I didn't guess anything. If I'd guessed something, I'd have been fuming. So, Annie, we've established that...
I've got to get the timer out.
So you can see how great they are.
I think my earlier statement about you not being normal was bang on.
Listen, a lot of people know me well, and they would totally agree.
I love that. No, what are you doing? Oh,
I'm getting the timer.
I thought you're just texting someone. Okay, so the top...
I'm the official timekeeper.
Do I get bonus points anyway? Like if I'm rubbish at the game, that was partly why I brought them, because I'm really rubbish at games. So then if I don't get any, can I have a bonus point just
I'll give you a bonus point for bringing that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll give you a bonus point for
the Norse horse. Very good. I think that actually has been one of the cards we had, Norse horse.
Over here, that looks like grass then, doesn't it, on the snooker table?
I can't see the snooker table, I don't think.
Okay, well, you can.
Can't see the...
That's right.
Okay, here we go. Right, so...
I'll hold the duck-billed platypus as a bit of luck. That might help me.
11 to beat by Peter Dowd, MP for
Peter Dowd.
Well, I've just given up now.
No,
don't give up. Never give in.
Peter Dowd, he's another planet from me. I'll be lucky to get 2.
I mean, in fairness, he
only
got 2 of them.
He only got... Allan got the rest. Allan can help you if you want.
I help, yeah.
That's relief, yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Don't forget, stack them in different places.
This one, I feel bad about this first one after we talked about not saying the word fat.
Is it fat?
There's something fat about this one.
Okay.
Go on, after you've read it.
Okay. Grasp excess fat. It's in your thing.
Grab.
Yeah. In your thing for the cat.
A fat cat.
No, grab.
You can't call cats fat nowadays, Annie.
Oh, scabby tabby. That's what mine was.
Grab excess flab.
Flabby.
Grab flab. There you go. Next. Skier's lament. Skier's lament. Why would a skier be sad?
Slalom.
No, but what does he ski
fall
on?
down.
What does he
Skis.
What does he ski on the skis?
Snow.
On?
Snow.
But why would he
Snow.
be sad?
Snow.
No snow.
No snow.
Pound offer. Offer you a pound.
Um,
Pound. How much? Can you?
Quid.
How much? Yep.
Quid.
But
Quid.
a pound. If you're offering a pound for something.
Bid quid.
Bid quid.
Quid.
Pull small carpet. Pull a small carpet.
Rug.
Yep.
Rug.
So what are you
Tug a
gonna
rug.
do to it? Tug a rug.
Rug.
You're almost as good as Peter Dowd. Equal portion. Equal portion.
Same.
Fair share.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Annie.
got it on my own there.
Put name on dots. Put name on dots.
Name on that.
Put your
A
names on
dotted
the dots.
line,
Help us
sign.
out in the comments. Put names on dots.
Sign.
Yes. Sign.
Sign line.
Yes.
Oh,
sign
very
line.
good.
Got two.
Very
I'm
good.
not
A
with Peter Dowd
Netherlands
now.
car part. A Netherlands car.
Dutch.
Yep. What car part?
Dutch.
Car part. Car part.
Frutch.
A part on a car.
Part
I've not
on a
heard of the
car.
frutch.
Clutch.
There you
Clutch.
go. It's more
Dutch
common than the frutch. Chew midday meal. Chew a midday meal.
Lunch.
Munch lunch.
Yes.
Lunch. Oh,
Horrible
brilliant.
pair. Horrible pair.
Horrible pair.
8 seconds left. Horrible pair.
Not 8
Horrible
seconds.
pair.
If there's
Two.
longer than
two.
2.
Couple.
Twos.
Luple couple.
Twos.
Two's
Blues,
news.
twos.
Two's
Do
blues.
you want to pass?
Yeah.
Consume candy. Consume candy.
Sweet. Eat sweet.
Yes.
Sweet. Oh, it's
Summer
brilliant.
game entry coupon. Summer game entry coupon. What's a
Lottery.
summer game? A summer game?
Summer
Cricket.
game.
Sport. Yep.
Crickets, wickets.
Cricket.
And the two
Wickets.
coupon to get in. Coupon to get in for
Did.
cricket.
Tickets, wickets.
Ticket,
wickets.
Ticket. Ticket.
I said it.
Almost annually. Almost annually. What's annually?
Yeah.
Yearly.
New year.
Yearly.
So
Yeah.
almost annually.
Almost annually.
Nearly
Nearly
yearly.
yearly.
Yes. Time.
Oh, that is time as well, yeah. How many?
Very
that was
good.
the paused one, so it's all
Well, to be
left.
fair,
If anyone can get
That one.
horrible pair at
Yeah,
home,
put it in.
I will not send you a nougat. I will
Hey, we haven't
send you a
said it.
nougat. I'm going to
yeah,
send
you
you.
haven't said it.
We haven't asked you. We'll have to ask you.
So let's count them up.
Count down. That's,
I think you've done
all
well
right
there.
here.
Very well.
Thank you.
Some
Well,
better than
Alan
Claire.
did quite a lot.
Some
To
better
be
than
fair,
Claire.
it was a
3,
teamwork.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wow.
You're up
Very
there with
good.
Peter Dowd.
Thank you.
Next
very
time you
much.
meet him, you can say, me and you are top of the leaderboard. Next time
Very
he's down
good.
the strand.
Well, I do see him down the strand.
Yeah, he
comes
goes
to
to
all
Strand.
our events.
He
Comes
goes
to
to
the grotto
Strand,
with
yeah.
his grandkids.
He's a good egg, isn't he?
He
Good
is.
egg.
No one's got the horrible pair one yet.
No, horrible pair.
Oh,
it's quite
Emma said double trouble. Sorry, Emski.
Horrible pair.
Not. It's close, but it's not good enough.
Ugly. No.
Easy.
All right.
Calling people fat, calling them ugly.
You're calling
What's
them
next?
fat, not me.
What horrible pair? Tal's
Yeah.
gone for Tom and Allan.
Doesn't rhyme. Doesn't rhyme, Tom.
And the answer is,
Has
as
anyone got it?
told by Ray, gruesome.
Twosome.
Twosome.
Ah, well done, Ray.
Well done, Miriam, as
Anyway,
well.
so
Gruesome
yeah, we didn't do
twosome.
it at the beginning. What is this called?
What would you call that?
Well, down in Bristol, we call it Newjat.
That's a curveball.
That's a swear word, I bet.
So what do you think of that then?
Yeah.
Do you know about those regional differences from the
New
country?
Jat.
Newjat.
Newjat.
The
But we
Newjat.
don't ever say a tut at the end of the word, so you just leave it hanging.
Okay.
Newjat.
Because
Newjat.
Newjat is like nougat, but
Right.
nougat.
Yeah, Newjat.
Can I tell you, Annie
Newjat
doesn't
with a J.
she doesn't even know what they call this in Liverpool. Lived in Everton for 13 years.
15.
15.
Nugget.
Ah, you saved
Get
yourself
it.
there.
I know.
You
I
saved
know.
yourself.
Listen.
Did you?
Listen, I know what this is called too.
What's
Lemonade.
Lemo?
Lemo. No,
Lemo.
that's not Lemo.
It is. I know cocaine
know what,
is also Lemo, but this is Lemo.
You've explained
It is.
everything now, Annie. Can we get you? We totally get you
You're
now.
on the Lemo. That's what's up
Gluing
here.
camels,
Listen.
carrying around teddy
It
bears.
can be Lemo, can
Perfect
be
sense.
Coke, but it also can be the generic term for
Do you know
all
what?
fizzy drinks. You just ask.
Okay.
Spread it like wildfire.
Yeah.
There's 2 urban myths out there.
And
now.
he's on the Lemo.
No.
It's true. You ask the listeners, the
How much?
viewers, say, has anyone heard of the generic word for fizzy drinks? This is back when I was in Everton.
Okay.
So,
No, it is as
to
well.
Be fair,
Annie, you're
to
not
be
as
fair,
well,
I'll
Annie.
thank you very much.
It
You're not
is.
bringing
It
this
is
back.
Lemo.
I know it's
Very
other
good.
stuff.
Well
I was
done.
a drugs counsellor
Well
for
done.
7 years. I do know there's other stuff as well.
The drugs people
But I
stole
haven't
it.
got it in here.
The drugs people stole it off us, didn't they? That's
did.
what they did.
I'm
Wow.
talking about the naive days, you
Yeah.
know, when you could say things like
When
that.
I, want,
know,
when
I
I
know.
wanted
We're only
some
messing.
Lemo and it
We're
was
only
just
messing.
a drink.
11.
11.
11.
She smashed
Very
it.
good.
Right up there.
Very
on the,
good.
we might have to have a tiebreaker between them somewhere.
We're getting
I
back.
don't know how we'll do that. But
Right.
Yeah. Sorry.
Time for a story.
Yeah.
So basically, Annie, what happens is at the end of every session in Finnegan's, and this has been a particularly good
Looking
session.
at you again, Tom.
I know she is looking.
No, I was thinking. I thought of a good story earlier. I've totally forgotten.
Oh,
it. So
okay,
anyway,
that's all right.
Hopefully,
Just
keep
any-
talking. And
Yeah, it will come back to you.
As you can tell, I do have a lot of stories to tell.
People are, after you telling a story
she's
about the
sold some good
lemonade,
ones.
people are quite keen for you to be a member of Finnegan's.
Especially if you can get the lemo.
So the idea is, anyway, drawing it back in. Right, we tell a story. It can be any story. You've got a million stories because honestly, what a life
You live a
you've
good-
lived.
yeah, you
Incredible,
live
amazing,
an
very
amazing, yeah.
inspiring
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
adventurous.
Yeah, I love it.
So any of those stories will be fine. And basically, if the story's good, everyone at home votes, and we
Get him on the wall, lad.
get you on the wall, lad. We've got to do the
Lad, yeah,
the one
that's
for
a bit
the
sexist,
women there.
isn't it?
No, he's saying to me, get
I'm
him on the
saying
wall,
to
lad.
it, not
Is that
you.
right?
Get on the wall, not
Get
him.
on
Get
the
him
wall.
on the
Okay,
wall.
that's all
Get
right.
him.
But if it turns out badly, then
You're bad, lad.
you're barred, lads. That one is gender
That is
specific,
gender
unfortunately.
specific. That one. Yeah, we need to change that one. You're bad, girl.
Well, the good thing is that I can't be bad because I'm not a lad.
Yeah.
So it's all right.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Just cut straight to
Thanks
the
for
wall.
watching. Thanks for You've ruined it, Annie. So, Annie,
Yes.
over to you for
Over
the
to you,
story.
yeah.
Well,
Have you thought of it now?
I've thought of a story.
Go
There's
on.
a lot of
It'd
stories.
be great.
Okay.
Great.
So, it's a story about me, I presume.
Please.
Okay. Just checking,
make one
you
up.
know, it's like Jack and the Beanstalk or something like that. We could do that. So
Jack and the Beanstalk, from the Beanstalk's perspective.
back in the olden days,
1978.
1978,
Mm.
when I was 14. If anyone wants to do any maths, that's how old I am now. Really old. So
the
I
comments.
took a gap year and travelled at the end of it to South America.
Hang on, gap year to 14.
Oh, she's joking.
No.
Oh,
You know, at the normal time you do that.
she said.
I know, sorry.
Okay.
So I was between school and university, and at the end of the year, I was going with a friend to South America. And at
Brazil?
The end, not Brazil.
To your homeland.
Bristol.
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 Not Brazil.
Sorry.
All right.
We do
anyway,
put in, sorry.
Zummerzell,
Sorry.
really, not Brazil at all.
Sorry.
Slightly different down there. So
Let us speak.
I went, can you let me speak?
Sorry. I'm here for it.
Not from Speak, from Edison. Pete was born in Speak. My Pete.
Pete.
Yeah. Just thought I'd just throw that in. Nothing to do with the story.
That's good.
That's good. So I went to South America and I was working in Ecuador in a Christian radio station, mainly just like tidying cupboards and things. It was not very glamorous. It was like a holiday relief thing. And my friend was in Peru, in Lima, and we decided she would come up to Quito, Ecuador, where I was, and we would travel down together to Lima and fly home from there. And it would take, it was 3 weeks. So we were going to, have a bit of an adventure together. I'm sure you've got the handle by now that I'm a very serious person who is very well planned, organised. Risk assessment is my middle name. Wouldn't do anything remotely, stupid.
But this
or-
was back in the day,
This was back in the day before I became such a sensible person.
before glue and camels.
Yeah, or eating shredded paper. And so we came up with a great idea within probably a few hours of meeting up in Quito that actually we could save a lot of money if we hitchhiked with lorry drivers.
Wow.
So we were 19-year-old girls at the time. So to be fair, we did save a lot of money.
Yes.
Because it's a lot cheaper
Yes.
than
Good idea. I bet your
Get the bus.
parents would have been overjoyed.
Fortunately, at the time, of course, mobile phones didn't exist.
Yeah.
So you couldn't
Even
text home
landlines.
and
Yeah.
say,
If you're getting hitching a lift with a lorry driver, there are no landlines around.
no.
No.
Stayed in hostels and things, didn't have a phone anywhere. So my family had no idea what we were doing until we got home 3 weeks later. So that was probably good for their nerves.
Probably.
Fortunately, had quite a good covering of guardian angels. I think probably all the spare ones on the circuit were sent to help.
Yeah.
There were a couple of near misses. One of them was we'd got actually this is the only time in my life that I think I saw an angel.
Okay.
So we'd there were various exciting happenings on this, but one time we'd been on a lift with this lorry driver, and it was just a bit creepy, and two lorry drivers.
That's textbook. Do you want to be murdered? Yeah.
No, we weren't murdered.
Two 19-year-old girls thumbing down
fair,
a truck.
I never
imagine everyone stopped.
I was never at all worried about being murdered.
Yeah.
But it was a bit creepy. So I had
Just
to
how
sit
they were
on
gonna
this
murder me.
fella's. I'd had to sit in this fella's knee in
Oh,
the cab.
Annie.
And every now and then he'd have his hands up here and I'd hit his hands.
Annie.
Quite a forthright person. And me and my friend.
Just
anyway,
pay for the taxi.
so in the end, well, by this time we were pretty much in the desert,
Yeah.
like in a road with
Wow.
nothing there. But we just thought we just want to get out of this van when we can.
Yes.
So we came across a small number of houses and we said, here, this is where we want to get out. And they say, are you sure? Yes, absolutely. This is exactly where
This
we
is
wanted
where we
to
were
go
trying to
to.
go to.
All of this
Perfect.
is in Spanish.
Yeah.
Rusty Spanish.
Yeah.
Kathy's Spanish was better than mine. Mine was good for get off me.
Yeah. Essential.
Other things were less
There's like words that you can use that are like universal, aren't
Yeah.
you? For get off me.
Yeah. And anyway, so they let us out the lorry and off they went. Great relief. And then some fella the other side of the road in a British accent, and most people didn't speak English there, and if they did, they had an American accent. He said, if you're looking for somewhere cheap, there was like a big hotel there, which was way outside our price range, despite all the money we'd saved on the lorries. And so he said, if you're looking for a cheap place, just go down the road and turn, left and right, whatever. So by the time we'd crossed the road, he'd gone. There was nobody there at all. So we followed his instructions, and there was a cheap place. To be fair, it didn't have any glass in the window, so it did get filled up with cockroaches, which wasn't the best, but it was a lot better than the lorry drivers.
Wow.
And so I am certain that I feel convinced that was an angel, because I think if it was somebody who was, who would have been concerned about us and everything like that, it was clearly British. I would be surprised that he hadn't hung around just to say, are you okay, and things.
Because it was a pretty odd happening for you
it
to
was.
meet a British person in the middle
So
of
that was one amazing bit on the trip.
Wow.
Another amazing bit on the trip was we had decided to be really heroic. Probably get an idea. We're sort of great romantics of, let's do this the proper, adventurous way. So we'd thought we'll go to a little tiny border where there's hardly any people, and we'll carry all our bags. This is 3 months worth of luggage, carry our bags across the border. We'll get whoever it was to drop us off like a mile from the border so we can feel heroes. Stupid. It was boiling hot, sweaty. There's nothing there.
You're
We
thumbing
staggered.
down lorry drivers.
No, we weren't going to get any more lifts because we needed to walk to the border. We got to this tiny little border post and thought, at last, now it's like a little bridge across the river to the other side, to Peru. And the little sign on his thing, a motorbike had passed us going the other way. The little sign up said, gone for lunch. So the one person that did the passport control had gone for lunch. So then we had a minibus full of Ecuadorian boxers arrived who, they just all think you're beautiful. They kept saying, we were, and looked like Olivia Newton-John. I kept saying, look, we really don't look like Olivia Newton-John. She was the in person at the time. So I know that we have blue eyes and pale skin, but other than that, we don't really look like her at all. But anyway, they wanted to marry us and everything like that. And so by the time the fella came back from his lunchtime, that's just in a lunch break. It's quite heavy duty. It was worse than the lorry drivers, to be fair.
I'm never letting my daughter go travelling.
Well, not with me.
Not with you, Annie.
Probably be fine on her own. My kids are much better than this.
Wow.
So anyway, by the time he came back from his lunch break, we were just keen to get away from the Ecuadorian boxers, to be fair.
Yeah.
Crossed over the bridge, thought, hooray, we're in Peru. Find a lorry. We're on our way.
Because Peruvian lorry drivers are all sane.
Absolutely.
They're not serial killers.
And
It's
when we
fine.
got over the side, the fella in the passport thing, the other side,
He'd gone on lunch.
said, I don't know why, but just because we were carrying our bags, looked completely, sunburnt and all hippie clothes, he said, I need to unpack you. You need to unpack your bags. I'm going to search you. Okay.
Wow.
And when you've travelled for a long way and you've got your rucksack and you've wrapped everything up in your socks and you've stuffed knickers in your shoes and stuff like that. We thought,
Always doing that.
please. And we were so tired and it was quite late. We'd had all this stressful thing. We said, please, honestly, we haven't got anything illegal.
Which is what you would say.
Exactly, it is. Anyway,
Textbook what someone
he
would
didn't
say.
believe us
No,
some reason.
Fairness.
So we had to unpack everything, and then obviously we didn't have anything illegal because we are good citizens who
That was
don't
before
do
the
illegal
lemo.
before the lemo. And
Drug smuggling.
so then we had to pack it all up again, and then we were just ready to get on the lorry, and they said there are no more lorries today because the Ecuadorian boxes, of course, have been straight through, often the minibus, and so they said, yeah, nowhere to go, so you just got to stay here for the night, and it was like a couple of little shed thing, like a house, a little cafe, but very, very basic, and this little passport place. So we had bought a hammock by the stage where Kathy had. So we thought, okay, we'll do our brave adventure. That we'll hang the hammock up between. There was a police car there and a lorry, and we'll hang it up between there.
What is happening tonight?
That's all now.
So we'll sleep.
Not like a tree and a post. A police car and a lorry that could leave at any time.
Driving in opposite directions.
Listen, there were no trees. It was like the desert.
Okay,
there weren't
sorry.
trees.
So you
Okay.
tied your hammock
nothing
to a
was
police
going.
car.
Nothing was going. They told us nothing was going. Anyway, the only other people were there were some fellas from Liechtenstein.
You're making this up. This isn't true.
It is true.
You're
and
making this up.
They said we are from Liechtenstein, and I said
With the Ecuadorian boxes.
you are no, not them. They'd gone.
She's having us off, people.
I said,
Bara.
excuse me, Tom. I said there is no such place as Liechtenstein because I'd never heard about it, and I thought they
It's
were
a
making
made-up
it up.
country.
They had to get the passports out and show me there is. There's a place
Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein.
Is it still around
What
now?
are the chances?
Yeah.
There were no one there apart from the fellas from Liechtenstein. Obviously, the lorry driver. that was gonna
Ecuadorian
drive the thing.
boxes.
No, they'd gone.
They'd gone. They'd got
And
off.
presumably, whoever the police car belonged to, I never saw a policeman, so maybe they just left it there in case.
Give up.
Yeah. So anyway, but a nice lady
All these
who
drug
was there.
smugglers getting
This is quite a long time ago. It gets a bit blurry in your head. She said, if you get cold in the night, come into my pigsty, which is nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because that's better than getting really cold in the hammock. Because
Was there pigs in the pigsty?
We didn't. No, I didn't think so.
Okay.
Meanwhile, back in the Strand.
Wow.
So anyway, we found like a big sack to have as like a cover, and it was a very big hammock. So the two of us were on this hammock between the lorry and the police car. And because it had been absolutely boiling in the day, you sort of forget that actually deserts get really cold in the nighttime. So by the nighttime, we were freezing. And then we thought, where is this woman's police car, pigsty? Because it'd be better than the hammock.
Yeah.
So we're fumbling around trying to find, because it's obviously there's no street lights or anything because it's the middle of nowhere. Anyway, we found a window that was open, went in it. I think it was
You are mad. Just gone. It's not a pigsty. You've just gone into a murderer's house. What were you thinking?
There wasn't a murderer, Tom. There was no point.
She's still here, Tom.
Point were we
on.
worried about being murdered.
Where's Kathy?
It was
Where's
fine.
Kathy?
Where is
That's
she?
what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Is she still
Where
around?
is she? She's in Ecuador somewhere, raising pigs. That's where she is.
Kathy's fine.
Stuck on the border, sleeps in a hammock in the back of a police car every night. Poor Kathy. She's the real victim in all
She's
this.
absolutely fine. You're just distracting from the story. So anyway, in the morning, the fellas from Liechtenstein and us met up with the lorry driver. We weren't going in the cab for that. Too many people for the cab. So he said, sit on the back on these like planks of wood, dangling like this high off the bottom. And he said, go on that. I don't know if you've ever been on a plank of wood on
Funnily enough, not.
in the back of a lorry across a desert. But one really
happens.
important
It's on my
thing.
bucket list, though.
One important thing is you got loo roll to cover your face. Loo roll's not just when you need the toilet; it's also
Or
to
snow.
keep the dust off
But okay.
your face because it's really dusty. But we didn't know that on this journey he was going to be buying chickens, not dead chickens, alive chickens for in there, goats. He nearly got a pig, but he bought cheese instead. And all these things were in the lorry underneath us, where we were bouncing along on these planks of wood,
Yeah.
dangling with the fellas from Liechtenstein. And
I
that was it.
don't.
I don't know what's happened here tonight, Tom. I've gone. I'm speechless.
I think I'm either on drugs or I need counselling. I don't know. This is how counsellors
I'll
work.
just go back to my lemo
This
now.
is how counsellors work, isn't it? This is they sell you 6 sessions because in the first session they just take you
They just do you in.
take you apart.
Yeah. What are people saying?
Well,
anyway,
I think the walls fell down.
I
Yeah.
want to reassure you, I did get to the end of the journey in one piece. That's why I'm here now.
Amazing.
Yeah, but we haven't seen Kathy. You're saying she's all right.
Hashtag free Kathy.
The most amazing thing. So when my parents
Kathy's
heard
life
about
matters.
this, and I carried on the thing actually when I got back to Heathrow. I had arranged, I was going to tell my parents, and the letter I'd sent 3 weeks earlier or whatever said, no, I'll ring you from Heathrow that I'm coming.
You got back to Heathrow, you're coming through security, you're just looking at the security guard saying, I've done nothing illegal.
Well, I hadn't done anything
I've done
illegal.
nothing illegal. And they're like, we're going to search you again. In there with the lads from Ecuador.
And Liechtenstein. So anyway.
Dead chickens, just carrying them through.
When I
Tissue
got back
around
to
her face with a
Heathrow-
plank on each shoulder.
Tom, I'm trying to finish the story. I got back to Heathrow and there was a bus going to Bristol straight away. So I thought,
Brazil?
No, Bristol. So I got on the bus straight to Bristol, so I didn't have a chance to
I
speak
thought
to
you'd
Mum
just
and
come
Dad.
back from South America.
I know. So they were going to pick us up from Bristol, but I couldn't ring them because I didn't have a mobile, obviously, at those
If you
days.
tell me
There has
that
been
you
a photo.
thumbed a lift from a lorry driver,
We're going to buy it ourselves.
So got
You need
to
locking
Bristol,
up.
got to Bristol, and then I thought, well, I might as well, because they lived, their farm is like 8 miles out of Bristol. And
Yeah.
I never get a bus there because there's hardly any buses. But I thought, I'll get the bus to a mile away from the house. That's where so I got the bus there, and then I thought, I'll hitchhike a lift up there because I'm used to hitchhiking now. It's
Yeah,
all right.
expert.
It was a fella who said he knew my dad. That's a
oh,
good
that's
line.
what they always say. I know your dad. I've not even told you my name yet.
I knew you had that.
Anyway.
He's tied up in the boot.
With all the dead
I should
chickens.
just give a little sort of warning to this.
A warning
Along-
now. We're 2 hours in, Annie. This is only normally an hour. Give us a warning. You could have warned us 2 hours ago.
Along with the shredded paper story, don't hitch lifts with strangers
Right.
because it could be dangerous.
No.
But anyway, I was fine. He dropped me at the top of the drive because I was going to be a hero and walk down with my 3 months worth of luggage. And
Right
it's
across the border.
A third of a
Where's
mile.
Kathy? She's not with. Where's Kathy?
Yeah. Therefore,
Kathy
still in
had gone
Peru.
to her parents.
She's dead.
So a third of a mile down the drive, I get down to the drive, and as I'm coming to the house, I see my brother in the distance. Disappears into the house, doesn't run to greet me. He was busy saying to my mum and dad, there's a gypsy coming down the drive. Because I'd cut my hair.
He hasn't seen the prodigal son, has he?
That's right.
That's it.
And
You cut your hair.
So meanwhile, there we are. I got home. I was fine, despite slightly risky
Behaviour.
travel plan.
Yeah.
My parents, meanwhile, the house had burnt down.
Oh, shut up!
It was the roof had been hit by a fireball.
A
Oh,
This is no. I
this is
can't
not
go.
true.
I can't go.
It is. Look at
She's
it.
lying to us.
It is.
A
A
fireball.
fireball.
Fireball, part of in a thunderstorm. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is another whole thing. You don't want to keep going, do you?
No, you can't leave it there.
It's like
A fire. I've never seen a
Did
fireball
you
in
ever
my
watch
life.
the program 24 and you'd watch it, you're
Yeah.
sticking with it, then
Yeah.
right at the end they just say something like mad, and you're
And
like,
you
I've
go,
got to watch another one now.
Gotta watch
That's
another
what
one.
live- that's
That was
what
the
being with Annie's like.
Jump.
It's like this story's had every nationality going. Countries I didn't even know
We've
existed.
got a fireball. We can't stop
There's a
it.
fireball. Oh no, just
tell
leave
us-
it there.
Just sell us the fireball.
Do the fireball bit quick.
Okay, quick. So there was a big mad storm,
Yeah.
and my mum was in the house with the guy that worked on the farm and lived with us as well. And she was quite worried about it. She went out to phone. To phone. And
Strange way
this
to
guy,
speak about your
she
father.
said, just go. She sent him up to his room or something. He came down. There was all this smoke coming down the stairs. And he said, I think he's quite posh.
I think it's a fireball.
No, I said, I think the roof is on fire. So she said, oh, well, just go and get the fire extinguisher, put it out. Went up and this whole mass of smoke coming down. He said, I think it's a bit too late for a fire extinguisher. So she tried to phone the fire brigade and the phone like flashed blue. And she thought, oh, a bit dodgy. But anyway, it did work. The reserve fire brigade from the local town, really excited. They never get called out. They all took a while to assemble. Came up. Then she phoned the guy that worked, the herdsman, worked at the top of the lane and said, I think we've got a little fire in the roof. I think they'd had a little tiny fire before. He came round the corner of the drive with a bucket of water, and the whole roof was on fire. He thought, oh.
Should have brought a bigger bucket.
Bigger bucket was in order. And anyway, the fire brigade did come and put it out in the end. But they had... So all this was happening while I was doing all these risky things.
You've not told us the only bit we asked you about. What's a fireball? What do you mean? Where does a fireball come from?
It's masses of thunder and lightning.
Yeah,
and
a fire.
Just occasionally, there's a thing called a fireball. Which, I don't know. I've never seen one.
Is it a
I
ball
was in
of
South
fire?
America hitting with lorry drivers. Don't ask me.
You were a drugs mule at this point.
So anyway, my little spiritual point at the end of this.
No, don't try and do that. No, Annie. You can't tell this whole story and then try
And then said, Jesus loves you.
wrap it up in a little Bible story. I'm not having it.
It's not a Bible story.
Go on.
Okay.
But it is interesting that
No, nice
I
try.
do think
Go
God
on.
was looking after me
Is
very
that it?
nobly when, I was a little bit foolish, but
Yeah.
he was looking after me. But I think the same God was looking after Mum and Dad, who could have burnt, that killed them as well, this fire, and they were okay. But also you'd think if there was a dangerous place to be, it was the hitchhiking with lorry drivers, not in a farmhouse in Somerset where nothing like
Ever
that happens and nobody's ever heard of a fireball, and how can that happen? But actually, things happen to people.
It was a dad smoking in the loft. Didn't want to tell the mum he smoked cigars. That's what it was. I'm telling you.
Let us know if Annie... So, wall or barred or sectioned?
Wall barred or call the police.
I'll just go back to my limo.
Save us, please. Sorry.
It's normally the guest who feels like they're a bit like it's a hostage situation.
You won't let us leave.
Me, you and Jack are terrified, you know.
Very good. Let us know.
Brilliant.
Let me see the comments.
Defo being one of the best.
Wall and maybe sectioned. So both wall.
Who said that?
I can't read it.
Wall. Yeah,
Whoa.
but I think people want to see you on the wall. I mean, what a night. What a night.
What?
Very good.
Yeah. I'm worn out.
I don't know.
I'm literally worn out, Thomas.
Listen, if you've not met my husband before, you'll know to pray for him now.
What a man.
I know.
What a man, I know.
What a man.
You're going on the wall, Annie.
You're not going on the wall. Like,
Just because I'm slightly scared what you do if we don't put you on the wall.
I'm taking a fireball, mate, at the bar. There's only ever been one in the history of Britain.
I'm going to write the address of the bar on the wall. You could send the police and the fire brigade, possibly. Annie,
Yeah.
we're running out of space.
I know, we're going to have to have a bigger wall.
There we go.
Oh, that's not very big, Tom.
Annie. There it is.
Annie.
Ah, thank
Can
you.
I just say, Annie,
Yeah.
this has been
Amazing.
so good. Wow.
It has.
What a night.
I know.
I don't know.
I didn't know we'd end up there, did you?
I don't
know what happened.
I didn't even tell you half the stuff about who's the king of the jungle either, did I?
No.
Wow.
Or the verses with the decapitated harvest mouse that never got through.
Wow.
And
I wonder why that didn't get in.
You're not even joking. I know that.
No,
Is there any camels in the extra verses?
No. There was a zombie. No, not a zombie.
Flippin'
A
heck.
terrifying
Dark.
harvest mouse. Sharks.
Sharks.
Martian.
Martian.
Who's the king of
I wonder why they cut that bit.
Can't think.
What did you say about
Best
sharks?
bet, to be honest with you.
What did you say about sharks? Who's the king of the jungle? Who's the king of the
Actually, no,
sharks
it wasn't
biting off
Sorry,
limbs?
it wasn't sharks. It was piranha fish.
He's the king of the piranha fish, chewing on my leg.
No, you see, who's the
Doesn't
king of the
rhyme.
jungle? That was just the chorus. These were the verses.
Oh, I see.
It's
I'll have to
amazing,
wait
isn't
for
it, though?
another time.
By popular opinion, they decided your verses were rubbish. That's slightly insulting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when you find it anonymously, you're like, they've not done
Getting
they've
$4
not-
grand a year for that
Yeah,
for the
that's
last
true.
20 odd years, lads.
True.
You
do the math. You do the math.
Tell you.
57
Not a
years
problem.
old.
Yeah.
They did the math. 57,
58.
58. Got it wrong.
Just Sal on it.
Wow.
Wow, 2 hours. 2 hours. Longest one we've ever done.
Emma, if you don't hear from me pretty shortly, send help.
Oh, dear.
I love you, children. I know we've had our differences, but let's put them aside.
Oh, dear.
Okay.
Yes. Wow.
That is so. Thank you so much, Annie.
We've not got time for Tom's top tips.
We
have
have Tom's top tips.
Tom's top tips.
Avoid
Stay away
lemon.
from Annie.
Don't get in. Don't get in.
go
Lorry
to
drive.
another
Actually,
place.
we could give the very serious message. Don't use PVA glue on camels.
True.
Don't eat shredded paper.
Yeah, and don't do lemo.
Hitchhike
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
with lorry drivers.
Oh, the lemo's okay,
true.
apparently. Crack on. It's fine.
So
We've
Next-
got no time for Tom's top tips.
we've got no tips.
We've
Next
missed
week.
loads
Right.
out.
That's all right. Don't worry.
It's been amazing. Annie, fabulous.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
first of all.
That's gonna go
because we
down.
rang you quite late.
Yeah.
You know, not today, but Monday, I think it was. Yeah.
Pete was happy for you to go out there.
Pete changed the locks.
This is your new home.
Pete's moved.
Just changed his name to Juan. He lives in Peru now.
With Annie.
So boxing career. Okay, we've got to stop.
Yeah,
We've got
we
to
have
stop.
got
We've
to
got to stop.
stop.
Next
Got
week
to
we've got
stop.
Ben Jack,
Yeah.
evangelist from the Message Trust. I'm sure he'll be very
Yeah,
sensible.
and a week after that, we've got Michael
wrote-
Layden,
Do you know what Ben Jack's new book is called? The Kindness of a Stranger.
The Kindness of a Stranger.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah, and the week after we've got Michael Layden, who's actually the dean
The
of
dean.
a theological college.
Dean of a theological college. He is clever, though.
Ring that bell.
We better.
All right.
Time.
God bless you. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
tonight.
you. Good
Annie, you're a
night.
superstar.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Bye.
coming to be
Absolute
with
superstar.
us. We'll see you again next Wednesday for another episode of...
Wednesday night at Finnegan's.
Wow.